Okay, good evening. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being here. Have a seat if you guys haven't got one yet, and feel free to make yourself comfortable. This is a regular meeting of Hollister City Council, September 2nd, 2025. This meeting is being called to order at 6:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Pache,
Present.
Councilmember Resendez,
Present.
Councilmember Morales. Here. Councilmember Deanda. Here. And Mayor Stevens.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Resendez, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so I'm going to check in with our city attorney. Anything to report on closed session?
Thank you, Mayor. There is an item to report. There was a motion by Councilmember Resendez to form an ad hoc committee to streamline the city manager's search process with Councilmember Resendez and Mayor Stevens appointed. The motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Pache. The following is a roll call vote. Mayor Stevens, yes. Vice Mayor Pache, yes. Councilmember Morales, yes. Councilmember Deanda, yes. Councilmember Resendez, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with tonight's agenda. We're going to start with item 5.1. This is a special order of the day, a proclamation. It's on Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So tonight we recognize Jacob's Heart Children's Cancer Support Services for their incredible dedication to families facing childhood cancer in our community. Incredible cause. So each year, nearly 20 of every 100,000 local children are diagnosed with cancer, the leading cause of disease-related deaths among children. For over 26 years, Jacob's Heart has provided critical support from housing and food to transportation and emotional care, ensuring no child or family faces this journey alone. On behalf of the city of Hollister, I'm proud to proclaim September 2025 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month and to recognize Jacob's Heart for their compassionate service. So let's give Jacob's Heart a round of applause. So I'm going to step down and hand a proclamation over to a representative, but I'm going to ask if someone from the group would like to come up to the podium and say a few words. I'm going to give you the mic. Do we have a representative who'd like to speak? Please come to the podium. Thank you so much.
Hi, Council. My name is Iris Garcia, and on behalf of Jacob's Heart, Children's Cancer Support Services, and the families we serve, I want to sincerely thank Hollister for recognizing Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. By making this proclamation, Hollister is standing with families in their hardest moments, showing them that their community cares and that they are not alone. Thank you for your leadership, compassion, and for giving families strength and hope.
Thank you. Okay, so what a wonderful cause, and glad we were able to recognize such an important group. So we have another proclamation. This is in celebration of California's 175th birthday proclamation. So this year we celebrate a major milestone, the 175th anniversary of California statehood, which took place on September 9th, 1850, when California became the 31st state in the Union. We acknowledge the efforts of the native daughters of the Golden West, including San Juan Bautista's Parlor number 179, for their ongoing work preserving historical sites, supporting veterans, students, and honoring California's pioneers. On behalf of the city of Hollister, I proudly proclaim September 7th through the 13th, 2025 as California History Week, and encourage all residents to celebrate our nation's incredible history. Do we have a representative? Yes. Do you want to get? Yeah, thank you. Please come to the podium.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm Shauna Friels, the president of the Native Daughters of the Golden West. We're housed in San Juan Bautista, but we actually encompass Hollister and San Bernardino County. In the early 1900s, Copa de Oro, which was Hollister's, were called parlors, not chapters, joined us because they kind of were not funded anymore, if you will. So we encompass all of San Bernardino County. We also folded in the city of Watsonville. That was Pajaro Parlor. So we're a pretty broad parlor. We own our own Adobe home, built in 1886 in San Juan Bautista on 4th Street. So if any of you have ever seen it, it's absolutely gorgeous. We purchased it in the 1930s and restored it to what it is today because we care so much about California's history. You've shared with the audience a little bit about what Native Daughters of the Golden West does. We partnered with Native Sons of the Golden West and created the first orphanage in the state of California. We provide scholarships to veterans, children, to any child in the state of California who wants to attend a UC, a trade school, or a CSU, or JC, anything. It's in the state of California. So again, we're California-born leaders, and we're a very diverse group. We are celebrating in San Juan Bautista this coming Saturday, and I've got flyers in the foyer sharing our event. It's going to be fantastic. We've got California Condors, the Ventana Wilderness is coming with some, not a condor, but measure yourself to a condor. We've got a kids art booth. We've got California Master Gardeners doing a gardening presentation and a raffle and giveaway. We've got a birder, California birder, who actually lives in San Juan. He does a beautiful presentation. Native Daughters. We have the E. Clampus Vitus, who are quite amazing as far as California restoration of plaques and bringing California history to everyone's attention. Lots of fun stuff. California books. I could go on and on and on. We'll actually have California cupcakes for everyone, and we'll be singing "I Love You, California," which is our state song. So again, invitations for absolutely everyone. This is a free event. And then I have some California flags for staff and yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And if anyone's interested in joining us, we're taking members.
So remind us of the date again.
It is Saturday,
This coming Saturday,
the
okay.
6th, from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. right at Luck Library Park, big giant park. It's a full block.
Okay.
We'll be outside, lots of fun.
Great.
I didn't even say this. Of the funnest part of it, we're going to have California trivia for kids and for adults. So Marcus Mendiola, who's pretty amazing trivia host at local Vertigo, will be hosting trivia, and it's a serious thing. So bone up on your California history. Thank you so much.
Thank
Truly
you.
appreciate it.
So just give me a minute. I'm gonna walk down there. So thank you. Hope to see you guys all there. Well, that was fun. That was really fun. So yeah, hopefully people can get out there on Saturday. It sounds like a great event. Okay, so we're going to move on with our agenda, and we're at the public input part of our agenda. And this just as a reminder, this is a part of our agenda where people have an opportunity from our public to speak on anything that is not on today's agenda. So within, obviously it's should be within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. Each speaker should look for a card in the back, get a yellow card from the back, fill it out, bring it to our city clerk who's up here. And when you come up to speak, state your name, your city, and then speak to the council about what you want to talk about. You will be allowed 3 minutes. If you're on Zoom, please click on the bottom as part of your screen and raise your hand. If you're joining us via a cell phone, then use the *9 and then just speak until your 3 minutes are up or whenever you'd like to finish speaking. Just a reminder that state law prohibits the council from discussing or taking action on any item that is not on the agenda. So clerk, do we have any speaker cards for this section?
Yes, our first speaker is Adan Ameskua, to be followed by Dara Tobias.
Hello, I'm Adana Mezcua, a Hollister High School senior.
I am Juan Carlos Reina, Hollister High School senior.
We're gonna give you guys a quick rundown of the Hollister High School's robotics club and how we can further work with the city and get support.
I would like you guys to imagine a group of high schoolers at 10 p.m. at night. These high schoolers are not working on a video game, but they are instead in a workshop working side by side to build a 120-pound robot that will represent Hollister in the international stage. This event happens many times during our on seasons.
So like I said, I'm Adana Mezcua. I'm the captain of the Hollister High School's robotics team, also known as 684 Deep Space Robotics. First, we're a group of young, passionate students interested in engineering, technology, and teamwork.
Further, for most of us, this is more than just a club. This is where we can find our future and our career that we want to go into, where we can empower ourselves with the abilities that we know we are capable of. We are forging the future leaders of tomorrow, and we are proud and honored to be able to host the brightest students in Hollister High.
Note, a good statistic we have is three of the last 4 valedictorians have been within the club. So we do produce some of the best students at Hollister. Last year alone, we reached thousands of students, introducing them from the elementary to middle school level to hands-on STEAM activities through our nonprofit program as well. And with this, we also participate in events like Trick or Treat Street that happen yearly and other local events where not only our supporters, but our team gets together with the community to show what we're trying to build within the Hollister community. We also partnered with the Go Baby Go program, which works with schools and clinics to design adaptive ride-on cars to help children with disabilities. These programs don't just change lives, they prove what Hollister students can achieve when given the right support. And we're here today to ask for next steps to work with the city.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. And just as an FYI, you can find contact information for myself, our city manager, and any of the city council members that are up here on the city website. So please reach out to us and we can get something together. But thank you so much. And just know that your city is very proud of you and the club and everything that you guys are doing. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, round of applause. Do we have another speaker?
Yes, our next speaker is Dara Tobias.
Hello, Mayor and City Council. My name is Dara Tobias, and I am here from the San Benito County Fair and Fairgrounds. We hosted over 51,000 people at the fairgrounds last year, so it's kind of a statistic that we're actually very proud of, that we are a place for our community, whether they live in the city or the county. I think it's something that we all should be proud of, that we're there and we're supporting. I wanted to talk specifically a little bit about the fair. We are almost here. We're less than 30 days away from the fair, October 3rd, 4th, and 5th this year. We have kids are free. Kids 12 and under are free all day on Friday. I know our schools are out, so we're hopeful that we'll be able to be a spot for people to come and recreate, since they're not, a lot of our students are not going to be in school. Our seniors are discounted every day, and our active duty military are free every day. Discounted tickets are available today. They just went on sale today through Thursday, October 2nd, or until sold out. Those are in Hollister at Ace Hardware, True Value Hardware, and Postal Graphics, as well as San Juan Batista at the Pizza Factory. and Tres Pinos at the Tres Pinos farm stand and at our fair office. The Carnival Unlimited wristbands are $30 for 1 day. Unlimited rides for any age for 1 day is $30. And the Family Fun Pack admission, we're trying to support our community and giving some discounts for 2 adults, 2 children, plus parking any 1 day of the fair is $40. That's about a $58 value. So it's a pretty good discount. Buy ahead, our regular admission is available on the website, www.sanbenitocountyfair.com. And before you leave, our robotics folks, we do have a community stage. If anyone would like to do any sort of display or anything of your robotics at the community stage, reach out. We'd love to have you. So thank you everyone for
Yes.
considering joining us. I'm really, really sad this year we won't have our police department and we won't have our city participating. They told us that budget cuts wouldn't allow them to come. So that's a huge loss for us and for our community being able to meet all of those wonderful people. But we hope that we'll do better and we'll be able to see them again next year. So thanks a bunch. And we appreciate seeing everyone at the fair.
Thank you, Ms. Baeza. Thank you. More speakers?
Our next speaker is Bridget Bauman Thorpe.
Good evening. It's good to be here. Have something. Stop the genocide in Gaza. 18,000 children have died. And I don't know if you are up to date with the news. The AP News reported today the world's largest association of academic scholars in studying genocide passed a resolution saying Israel's policies and actions in Gaza meet the legal definition of genocide established by the UN in 1948. The organizations that said in a release. The International Association of Genocide Scholars also said Israel's policies and actions in Gaza amount to war crimes, crimes against humanity, the release on Monday. So this genocide will go down in history. And I appealing to the city council to pass a resolution that we are against genocide. We don't support bombing Gaza as they do currently. This genocide will go down in history, just like the Holocaust 80 years ago. And I think it's one of the saddest humanitarian crises ever since we've seen in hundreds of years. And we can see it, the genocide live on the internet. And we have to demand from our government to stop financing the bombing to Israel. We are all humans. We are all humans. They are starving the people. The food is there. They're stopping the food that's supposed to go to Gaza. I think I've never been so shocked in my life learning more about Gaza and the West Bank and how Israel is treating the Palestinians. They're like, it's almost they're becoming the terrorists. For example, West Bank, the military goes into a Palestinian house, they occupy that house. You own the house, but they go in there and say, hey, now it's a military observation point. We stay here, you sleep in your beds, and put your wives under house arrest, and also your children. Maybe let your husband go to work. That is West Bank. By the way, a US American was killed in the West Bank. He was beaten to death. And they even wouldn't let the ambulance come to him. And he bled, he died. Was a US American Palestinian who wanted to meet his family. So I'm just asking, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thorpe. Thank you.
Those are all the speakers we have.
Okay, thank you to all those speakers. We're going to move on to the next item on our agenda. So we're going to go to the agenda. The consent agenda. So do any members of the council have any brief questions or brief comments on the consent agenda? Okay, not seeing any. I'm going to check in with the clerk. Do we have any comment cards for this one?
We have no speakers for any of the consent agenda items.
Okay, thank you. So So would any would anyone like to pull an item? Okay, so not seeing any. Okay, so can I get a motion from one of our members?
Mayor Stevens, I'll move to adopt the consent agenda as presented by staff.
Can I get a second, please?
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Vice Mayor Pache,
Aye.
Councilmember Resendez,
Aye.
Councilmember Morales, Councilmember DeAnda,
Yes.
and Mayor Stevens.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on to our council business and start with 8.1, report and presentation on the 2025 Hollister Independence Rally. May we have a staff report, please?
So while they get the presentation ready, if we could also promote Mr. Burke to a panelist. Okay, so thank you very much, David Marioni, City Manager, and I'll be presenting on the 2025 Hollister Independence Rally. And so today's presentation, the agenda for the presentation will be a brief history of the event, touching on the 2022 ballot measures, an overview of the of the recent rally, as well as statistics, preliminary financial report, and next steps. And as mentioned, we have on Zoom Randy Burke from Roadshows Inc., as well as in the chambers this evening, I have Chief Reynoso from the Hollister Police Department, Chief Goulding from the Hollister Fire Department, William Vaya from our Public Works Department, Charles Wall, Parks and Rec, and then Omar Rosa with the Hollister Downtown Association. So they're all available for questions as we go through the presentation or at the end of the presentation if you so would like to ask any questions of them as well. So just a brief history. We have an overview of when the rally has been held and when it hasn't been held. We've had some fits and starts. So from 97 to 2005, we had it, then not in 2006, 07, 08, both years. And then wasn't held from 09 through 12, 2013 through 17, it was back, and then was not held since then until it was held this summer. I want to touch briefly on the ballot measures. So in 2022, Measure T was an advisory measure. This was placed on the November 8th, 2022 ballot. 63% voted in favor for a motorcycle rally on the July 4th weekend. A yes vote supported advising the city government to reestablish the annual Hollister motorcycle rally over the 4th of July weekend. You also had Measure U, which was also an advisory measure, and on the same ballot, 57.48% voted against a rally over the week prior to or following the 4th of July rally or weekend. So a no vote opposed advising the city government to reestablish the annual event over a week prior to or following. So essentially, the advisory vote said, have a rally and have it on the 4th of July weekend. So just to give kind of a timeline since the beginning of the fiscal year last year. So on August 20th of 2024, the city council gave direction not to hold the 2025 rally via failed motion. January 7th of 2025, the council voted to hold the rally on July 4th and 5th as a two-day event, and also to return to the city council to discuss a ballot measure to hold the event annually. On March 3rd, the city council approved an agreement with Roadshows Inc. to serve as the operational manager for the rally. So that is a different arrangement than in years past. So the city served as the host / promoter of the event, with Roadshows acting as the operational manager in partnership with the city. And then June 6th, the city council approved an agreement with American Global Security to provide security services for the rally. And then July 4th and 5th, we held the rally. So wanted to give an update just kind of on the overall rally itself. It was July 4th and July 5th. The event hours were from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. We have a layout of the map. What was different from years past is we actually had 2 streets and did a loop. And the reason being, you had from the last time it was held, San Benito Street was a 2-way street with no parklets. So now that it's 1-way with parklets, which also take up some space on the road as well, we decided to do it in a loop fashion, which allowed for more parking on East Street. And so East Street was only open to bikes. Bikes could drive through there, or they could pull to the side and park on the side of the road. And that helped alleviate some traffic as well. We had 29 retail vendors with 36 booths and 10 food and beverage vendors. We had there was a lot of coordination to get the roads set up in a way that allowed for public safety access, and a lot of coordination. You had maps being developed, a lot of different maps for our evacuation routes. So I'd like to just take a moment and thank the Public Works Director and his team in partnership with our public safety for putting all of these tools together, and they're all very useful, and a lot of coordination to get all these roads closed. Anywhere you can see those little orange dots at the intersections, those were all closures throughout. And so that was a lot of moving of equipment and K-rails, and the team did a great job putting that together, as well as in partnership with Charles and his team. So we had a beer garden in the parking lot at 6th and East. We had 5 bands. 1 band played both days throughout the entire event. So there was music going the whole time, other than when the bands were swapping out. The Miss Hollister contest returned, and the beer garden featured Modelo, Pacifico, and White Claw, and then water, of course. We had 2 paid parking lots. We had Monterey Street and 4th over by the Briggs building, as well as 4th and McCrae. We did end up shutting that lot down. There wasn't a lot of usage of it, so it made more sense to close it and redeploy our staff to other areas of the event to be more efficient. And then we had 1 VIP lot on 4th Street in between San Benito and East. So for the event, as I mentioned, we partnered with Roadshows to serve as the operational manager of the event, with the city serving as host and promoter. Hollister Downtown Association, they operated the beer garden in partnership with Roadshows, as well as helped us liaise with the downtown business community. American Legion Post 69 in partnership with Battleborn Barbecue. They provided lunch and dinner, which was delicious and amazing for all first responders, whether they were working the event or not. Any of the first responders throughout the county, as well as the staff working the rally on both days of the event. And they did an amazing job. They also had the hall of the Vets Hall set up for folks to take a break and have lunch. And they had just a beautiful dessert spread and drinks and all of that. And they did all the fundraising for that. And that was at no cost to the event. And so just want to take a minute to give them, tip our hats to them. It was amazing. And then Recology, as we mentioned in previous presentations, part of their contract to be the waste hauler for the city is to provide trash services at the events, at certain city events, which the rally being one of them. So they coordinated the separation of trash. So you would see the bins throughout, the 3 different types of bins. And then they had a staged area where they would separate all of that and get that all sorted to try to prevent things going to the landfill and promote composting. And they were a great partner as well. For the safety side, in alphabetical order, there's a lot of folks that had key roles. And so I just want to take a moment. We had American Global Security, which was our security firm, American Medical Response, that's the ambulance company, AMR, Best Coast Canine, that provided a bomb dog to do detection, before each day and throughout the event. Cal Fire, they were there with the fire department providing services and drone services, which was amazing. The California Highway Patrol, Hazel Hawkins, the Hollister Fire Department and the Hollister Police Department, and then San Benito County Office of Emergency Services, the Probation Department. I missed Kingsburg Police Department, who provided services as well, and the San Benito County Sheriff's Office. As we, if the council gives direction to host another event, we would work, with the police department and our team to try to secure more officers as, we would have more time, and work with our insurance company as well to provide some insurance options for those partnering agencies. And then, look to an RFP for supplemental security services to complement the event. And depending on the direction that you go, that would, if you were to go that route, you would have more time, and you could apply lessons learned and work that into the proposal. Throughout this, I think we've seen a need, and we'll work, looking at some signage and things like that. We've done debriefs and chatted with the team, and so we've have some lessons learned there. From the fire side, they did have 2 roving staff roving around the event on bicycles, so they could be more, could get pretty much throughout the event easily, as well as using the side-by-sides. They also had a medical station set up over by the firehouse with themselves. They had CAL FIRE there as well as AMR in case anybody needed first aid. So a big thank you to the police department and the fire department. And I do have, again, both chiefs available for any questions that you may have. Sponsorships. So through the sponsorship process, Biker Apparel sponsored $60,000. Russ Brown Insurance with $30,000. San Benito Foods provided $15,000, and the use of parking lots for the event. Some of their locations, they were very, very generous and kind with that. Constellation Brands, $2,500, and they're the ones that provide the beverages for the beer garden. They're the distributor. The Santa Clara San Benito County's Building Trades Council with $1,000, and Roadshows Inc. Also sponsored at $1,000 for a total of $109,500. We spoke briefly on the parking lots. So San Benito Foods, in addition to the monetary sponsorship, provided the parking lot on the corner of McCrae and 4th, which is kind of kitty corner from Lucky's. And then Hollister Property Investments, which is the firm that owns the vacant lot next to the Briggs building. They donated that property. And so they actually were charging us $1 for it. And when it came time to pay them the $1, they said, they gave us a notice that we didn't need to pay them the $1. So, so they technically donated that. So. Total visitors. So in partnership with the Hollister Downtown Association and the tools that they have, they were able to provide us some statistics. I do have Omar, the executive director from the Downtown Association here. July 4th, that was Friday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., approximately 12,400 visitors. And they determined that through a software application that they have a subscription to, Placer AI, that tracks scrub data from cell phone providers. So it's not your name or anything like that, but they're able to tell the amount of phones and that are pinging there and get information, as well as get information on average stays, that type of thing. So the average stay would be 2 hours per visit. Saturday the 5th, approximately 14,100 visitors. As far as the Independence Day weekend citywide, Chief Reynoso had provided information, so I'll go over that briefly. This is citywide. Code enforcement violations 7, and assault investigations, at 2, concealed weapon at 1, domestic violence at 2, DUI at 3, fireworks violation at 11, no business license at 6, traffic violations 38, parking sites at 31, illegal weapons 2, with 7 arrests over the weekend. I want to step now into the Raleigh preliminary financial report. So this data is as of August 29th. So at budget, your projected revenues approved were 448,250. That does include a general fund transfer due to the donation that we had received to do the bathrooms at the community center. We did talk about that, and that was approved. And then projected expenditures approved at budget of 648,250. I do want to point out that sales tax numbers, it's just the way that the state goes through the process. We typically won't see those until November. And then the transient occupancy tax, TOT, which is your hotel tax, that's not due. That is collected by the city locally, but that's not due until October 31st. So they collect for the quarter, and then they have a month to remit the following month. So you have those amounts won't be in. It should be noted that the TOT rate going from 8 to 12% went into effect July 1 of this year. So, any of the hotels would have been applying that new rate as well. And with any special event, you usually see the cost of the rooms go up as well. So, and then we're finalizing our review of the receipts from road shows. So, and then we're pretty confident that the receipts have, or the bills have come in on the city side, but it is preliminary and a snapshot in time. So we work to collect all of the bills, and that's reflected here. So what I did is I put together an income statement for the event. So I will walk through that, take you through basically a traditional income statement. So from operating income, your beer garden sales were 37,700, and I'm just going to round. Your city business license tax at 7,500. City fees, so this would be your inspections, all different fees that are associated with putting up the tents and those types of things. 7,650. Food and beverage commissions. So as part of the food and beverage registration, they do remit 10% of their sales at the end. So that equated to 6,200. We have the $250,000 that came over generated from that savings. The grant revenue, we were able to secure a grant from our insurance provider to offset some of the insurance costs of $7,500. The parking lot returned at 2680. So that's something, if the council chooses to have it again, probably something we want to look at. That, it was, I think there was plenty of parking options out there. And so it did get used, but there was a lot of times when there was, it could have been filled and it wasn't. So something to consider. Sponsorships, the city securing 15,000, that was San Benito Foods, and then the remainder being secured by road shows at 94.5. The food and beverage registration at 9,600. The retail registration, so your shirts and your different booths that sold merchandise, at 32.6. And then VIP registration, the VIP was a little slow, and that came in at about 1,500. So overall, you're looking at 472, 575. To get to your gross income, you would take out your cost of goods sold via the beer garden. And so that leaves you a gross income of 458 roughly. On the operating expenses side, so, and this is combined with road shows, this is just the overall event, as well as costs incurred through the beer garden through HDA. So your advertising, 8,800, bank charges of $144, beer garden expenses outside of the beer itself, 6,120. Bookkeeping, 6,300. Communications at just under 6,000. Road shows did have as part of their agreement, a $30,000 consulting fee. If they raised, their goal was 90,000. They did have an incentive in there. If they made it, to 110, they would get a $5,000 commission on that. Based on what they raised, they didn't hit that next benchmark, so that fee is at 30,000 per the contract. Credit card processing of 2,300. Entertainment, so your bands, your stage, all of the costs that are associated with that, 15.8. equipment purchase of 25,400, equipment rentals of 27,000, your facility rental of 3,500, insurance across the board of 44,000, legal at 33,800, lodging at 94,500. And the insurance, I'll go back to that. That does include the city's extra policy that we had, as well as some insurance costs for the beer garden as well. So wanted to highlight that. So the additional cost of the insurance for the event was about 41,000 for the city on that side. Let's see, lodging. We did have out of town guests and the roadshows crew, as well as our out of area police. That was at 94,500. Your meals for staff that were traveling in, and for VIP events and things like that. The VIP area 29,500. For payroll, for the city non-safety, and I want to touch on two things here. So this is going to be your overtime and your other compensation. So there's event pays and different differentials that go into that for this event. The non-safety side was 15,500, with your safety side at about 74,500. On the roadshow side, they had about 30,000. We did utilize a temp agency for a small portion of the event. That was just under 2,000. The event, because we have the food at it, does require a county permit through the health department. That's what your 342 is. Postage, $30. And then safety or ambulance services of 8,300. We were able to get a 10% discount on that because we were able to pay within a certain timeline. So they were generous there. Outside agency safety. So you did have, some probation, as well as Kingsburg helping us out. Our security contract of 264,000, supplies at 11,800, training 2,500, and then overall transportation, gas, mileage. Road shows is out of Reno, so they had some costs coming over as well. So that gives you total operating expenses of 654. In a traditional income statement, you do have the section of other income and expenses for this type of event. We don't have any there. You would then also factor your sales tax. So the beer garden does generate sales tax. That'll get remitted. And so your overall net income is a cost of 199,376. You did approve a cost of 200,000. One thing I would like to touch upon is there's also, and this question gets asked a lot, so like to just touch on it, is when you look at the cost of staff, there is a lot of city staff time involved in planning the event, putting the event on. And so how we get to these costs is you end up time studying against the activities, right? So the overtime gets counted against, an event, a project. And so the cost of, health benefits for me and other compensation, that's not going to be in there. You already pay for our health benefits. We didn't hire anybody new for the event. So those costs are traditionally have not been included in the rally costs. It's been the new costs borne by the city. And so from January forward, the planning, all the staff time that would not be attributed to new costs, it's just the time of existing staff that are on the books already. That's at about 100, it's at 161,709. So, but that is, your staff work on a variety of items at any given time, and typically aren't time studying against every project that they're working on. So I know that that is something that's been asked, and so I wanted to include that there. So we have some questions for you, some direction. We're more than obviously welcome to, entertain any questions that you have I do have staff available, but, looking for guidance on if the city and if the council intends to host a 2026 event. If yes, would it be a 2-day, a 3-day? It's really your discretion. Does the city intend to sunset the 2025 Independence Rally Ad Hoc Committee that was formed to work on the 2025 rally? So that is technically on the books. Does the city council, if they want to host an event, want to continue to partner with road shows in the current arrangement that we're working in if that rally is held? And one thing that is done often by cities or counties that when they're doing events is they'll look at an economic impact report to look at the total impact of an event in the community. So you look at the multiplier effect of, sales tax, TOT, but you're also doing a deeper dive into, you may have a waitress that made $500 in tips that weekend. Did that money then get returned into the economy and generate new sales tax, new opportunities, jobs? You see that like Santa Clara County, I don't think it's the county, but in Santa Clara, they're looking at that for, they issued one for the Super Bowl and for the World Cup. You often see that with community events. And so that would be something to consider. Those typically could run anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000, but also give you a better idea of the true impact versus just here's the raw, revenue and expenses. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. But before we do, I just can't thank the staff and the partners enough for their work on this. They worked tirelessly on this, and those were long days and long nights. And I'm just extremely proud of the work that our team put in. Every single person from PD and fire to Charles's team and William's team, and every department had staff working on it. Jen was here. Sean was here the entire time. I mean, everybody just jumped in and got it done. And I think that, they put on a great event for the community. And I just want to take that moment to say thank you to all of them. And they're all here for questions if you have any.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, many, many, many thanks to staff. We, many of us on the city council were there at the event for both days, including the day before, and we saw them, especially at the very end. But we know, and we've said this to our staff. We know that we had a big ask when we came in and asked to put on this event that generally takes a year to plan, to put this on in 6 months when we hadn't had it in several years. So many, many, many thanks. Very, very impressed with the hard work and the leadership of our executive team, and especially our city manager. And I just want to do a special shout out to Charles and his crew, because Charles Wall took a big lead in a lot of the logistical stuff. So thank you so much. And to the two chiefs for ensuring the safety of our community. So many, many thanks for that. Okay, I'm gonna get off my soapbox for a minute. Let me check in with my council members. Any questions, comments about staff report? Questions, comments? This side of the room. Question, comment. Go ahead, Councilmember Morales.
So there's a couple of different ways to look at the budget presentation. So I just want to clearly understand. So when we're looking at the revenue, right, transfer over, that's not really a revenue in terms of, if you can go back to that slide, that's more of a transfer from general fund, right?
Correct, but your council solicited a donation to offset certain costs for the community center bathroom, and then made the decision to bring that over to help offset the costs of the rally.
And I want to make it clear that the intent for that donor wasn't to fund the rally, it was to fund something else. So the contribution really is coming out of general fund. And I say this because I have a point later on. which includes like why we need to look at the true cost of the rally, because if we are going to have it every year, then we really need to understand the totality of what it costs so that we can prepare for it. Otherwise, it's like saying something costs, you know, $100 when it actually costs 1,000. If it costs 1,000, then we need to prepare to put aside or to create revenue for 1,000. Otherwise, there's gonna be issues along the way, and that puts people at risk.
Correct. And that's why I listed it like that. So it is transparent. You can see it, and it's not buried anywhere in there.
No, and I appreciate it, but I wanted to make sure that that was clear. So we're looking at 440,353.67 for the total cost of the rally, not including the cost of the codes. And again, I think it's going to be important because when this is part of the infrastructure of the city, like people need to understand, okay, during these times, I'm going to need to work on the route. Like it's going to happen. So I can't do, especially if we're looking at budget reductions every year. How many codes did we delete last year for this budget cycle?
How many vacant positions?
Yes.
31.
And what is our denominator?
179. Would have to double check. It's 179 or 180.
Is that before the deletion? So we did a 17% overall.
That would be
reduction in
after.
staffing.
It would be after.
So 17% for reduction in workforce. Why that's important is because if we're saying we're going to do this, we're going to do the rally every year, but we now have less police, we now have less fire, we now have less public work staff, that means people are going to have to do more than one job. Again, it's not to say not to do it, it's to say we need to be prepared to do it. These are the actuals, this is what needs to happen. So we really need to plan for what is versus looking at a minimized effort, because otherwise planning fails. So, so then looking at the cost, the 449, and we add 161, we're looking at about we're really looking at $611,084. That's the cost of the rally. That's with the revenue that came in. So I really like to look at those numbers because that's what we're going to have to put aside for budget in incoming years in order for us to actually have it. And I would actually say that it would be the true cost would be about $700,000 to $800,000, because if you're not here, can we really expect to bring in revenue? We probably could, but you always try to plan for the best, right? Like hope for the best, but plan for the worst. So really, I mean, we're really going to have to look at $700,000 to $800,000. It's going to be the cost of the rally moving forward, right? If we don't have sponsorships in the future. So I just wanted to make those points because I think that is going to be the cost of the rally moving forward. And it is going to mean that staff are really going to have to put time aside because we are going to have budget reductions every single year for the next 5 years, and that is our reality.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Morales. Other questions or comments? Okay, so let's move to public comments. Do we have speaker cards on this item?
Yes, our first speaker is Todd Dubois, followed by Carla Torres.
And just a quick, can you give me a number of how many
I
speakers?
currently have 5 speakers.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good evening, Todd Dubois. I attended the first rally, and I'm an avid motorcyclist, and I'm not here to speak for or against the rally. I am here to talk about economic development and opportunity cost and what Councilmember Morales just mentioned. During the same time period that we worked on the rally, we didn't work on my assisted living and memory care project. And as what I spoke about before was that this senior assisted living and memory care project will produce $10 million a year in revenues and a $30 million economic impact on downtown Hollister. So I am here to remind you that I am still here for you and for the city to bring buckets and truckloads of money to downtown. And maybe you can afford to subsidize the rally. $700,000-800,000 a year if you have a $10 million a year senior care business right downtown. So I'm still here. You all have that pro forma that I have sent to you. All of you have the power to put it on an agenda. I just spoke with Dave. Each of you can put this project discussion on an agenda. And if 3 of you agree, we can get down and dirty and talk about those numbers. And you know, it's the biggest economic development project I can imagine for downtown. And I would love to bring it to you. I just need you guys to open your ears and open your eyes and look what's the opportunities there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. DeBlanc. Next speaker.
Our next speaker is Carla Torres, to be followed by John D. I'm sorry, I can't read the handwriting.
Good evening. My name is Carla Torres de Luna, and I'm a proud resident of Hollister. I'm here today to speak on our 4th of July Independence Rally. This event is a fun, family-friendly gathering of people of all backgrounds. Many people from surrounding areas come to enjoy the event, and it's a much-needed revenue for our businesses downtown, and I would even say city and county-wide. And maybe there are ways for us to be more creative, given more time so that we can plan the rally and leaning into our community. I'd also be curious to know the positive financial impact to our surrounding cities. From the beginning of the rally, you could hear the roar of the motorcycles. We have a kids parade, live music, delicious food, and we see families enjoying the event, which is what it's really about. And we can't deny the history of our town and its identity. Many of our members in our community own Harleys and other motorcycles. Like the lowrider culture, bikers have been perceived negatively in the past and even presently. And these are generalizations, assumptions, stereotypes, and biases. These stereotypes need to be broken because many in our community own lowriders motorcycles, and they're positive, productive members in our community. Thank you, Hollister City Council, for bringing the Independence Rally back to our community and considering keeping the tradition going. And while I'm up here, I want to also mention that our Hollister High School Mecha Club is hosting their 3rd annual car show this month on 9/20. And we welcome any motorcycles, bikes, and lowriders as well for a family fun event. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Torres. Thank you. So next speaker.
Our next speaker is John D., to be followed by Fallon Gregg.
It's Deem. It's Pennsylvania Dutch. It's hard to pronounce. Madam Mayor, Councilman, I basically wanted to take the time to say thank you for all the work that you guys have done for the city, trying to get this rally up and going. Being a native Hollister person, I look forward to every year when we have the rally, even the unofficial rallies and all the off years. It's hard to get people to come spend money when we're on the rally, off the rally, on the rally, off the rally. This on and off is insane. I mean, either we do it and commit to it and go, you know what, to the wall. It will help boost the economy of this town. It brings money in. The restaurants are filled, the hotels are filled. I mean, I had a bunch of people staying at my house that came from out of state to stay and go to the rally and spend money, you know, and I spent a ton of money there. Buying shirts that I don't need. I got 300,000 rally shirts in my closet that I can't even wear, you know, all the time. But it's the whole deal of this rally is to get people to come and spend money, right? That's why we do it, and to show off the town, to get people interested and get our name on the map. You know, it's everybody knows Sturgis, everybody knows Lavon, you know, Daytona, all like that, because they committed to their rallies and they do, you know, everything, persevered, and everybody knows, hey, I'm going to go to this rally on this date, and they plan for it all year, just like you guys have to plan all year to hold the rally. I don't think you guys get enough credit for all the work that you guys do. I appreciate it. I know it's not easy. I know you get a lot of grief for it, but it's a grief that's worthwhile. You know, in the end result, the town gets its name out there, the coffers get filled, and everybody comes and has a good time. I mean, the entire time I was down there, and I was like down there for like 10 hours each day, I never saw a single issue other than people, hot, no place to sit or stand, we need more benches to sit on. There's just, the parklets take up a lot of parking spaces. To find a spot for your bike, you end up parking 3 blocks away. We might want to work on those issues, being able to figure out where to put everybody. And the other thing is, we need to move the beer garden. Nobody knew it was there. It would have made a lot more money if more people knew, instead of hiding in the way in the back. Put it at the end of one of the streets. But that's just me saying it. But I want to thank you once again. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dean. Appreciate the comment. So let's, I'm just going to make a quick little comment. I appreciate the rounds of applause and your enthusiasm, but I'm going to ask if you can just hold off so we can get to our next speaker. So thank you, but I do appreciate your enthusiasm. Thank you. Next speaker.
The next speaker is Fallon Gregg, to be followed by John Martin.
Good evening, Mayor Stevens and council members. I just want to briefly say that I think that the rally was a huge success. It was money well spent. It provides an opportunity to grow in the future and become a revenue source for the community. The community, the people that I talked to that attended, they loved it. It was a family event. There were things to do. It was, I thought, well organized. And the business owners that I talked to said that it was the best weekend that they'd had since they opened their business. And they're looking forward to next year. And I think that the whole community is looking forward to next year. And this was done in 6 months. And it was such a positive experience. So imagine what can happen next year when you have a whole year to plan and to learn from the experiences that we just had to improve it. I think it's just a tremendous undertaking, but a tremendous opportunity to showcase Hollister. So I applaud you all. Thank you for being brave enough to get in there and actually decide to do this again. It was a lot of work and you carried it out. And I'm just so happy and so proud of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Craig. Next speaker.
Our next speaker is John Martin, to be followed by Annette Perez.
I promoted this event for zero charge to everybody for 1 year from South Dakota. I drove 22 hours to participate in the event. I slept in a tent for 2 days, and on my way out back home, I got a ticket before I could leave this county. I did break a law, which was not a law back home, but I was a visitor and I was responsible for following the laws here as a visitor. I did thoroughly enjoy this event. For 10 years, I've been attending these events nationwide, and this was very organized. I felt safe. The group I was with, which was the Patriot Guard Riders, we all felt safe. In fact, we felt so safe, we got bored and started helping picking up trash and recycle and chewing gum off the streets and sidewalks. So again, I just wanted to thank everyone for a terrific event. A lot of us missed it back home. And I think it is very important to keep it going. It is a 70 years plus tradition. And I thank everyone for making it an awesomely safe and memorable event. And I think this is a very important meeting because it gives us a lot of time to polish it and make it an even better event, if it's possible. The most important thing today, before I go back home another 22 hours, is we need better use of our veterans, better use of our Navy, our Air Force, our Marines, our Coast Guard, our Army. We have a lot of veterans. This is a veterans-friendly state, and I think it's very important. And I think it's possible to get more donations and more sponsors and more time invested into, more free time invested into this event by reaching out to our veterans, not only in this county, but in the tri-county. And I think they'd be more than willing to do so for free of charge, helping out the overall expenses of the next year's event. We can't really see the overall profits of the event. And honestly, it really doesn't matter. The most important thing that matters is that we had the event, and people, time's running out, ages are getting higher, people are getting older. Not too many people are going to be able to attend these events for very much longer. So our last event could very well be a lot of people's final event. So with that being said, thank you for a great event, and I hope to see another event next year, and God bless our veterans.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Thank you especially for traveling so far. Very impressive. Next speaker.
Our next speaker is Annette Perez, to be followed by Maureen Nelson.
Hello, Mayor and council members. I just want to thank you all for putting on such a successful rally in less than 6 months. I appreciate your time, your effort. We had a great time. I feel like it was very successful. I think the rally is what puts Hollister on the map, and we need to continue it. I think you can have a lot more revenue if we plan for it, commit to it today and moving forward, that, you spend time doing RFPs and getting more sponsors. I think you will see that we will make money. I know that my experience, the restaurants and bars, they were packed and we had a great time. I agree with Deem earlier on the beer garden, but we were thirsty and wanted to find it. We found it. And the bands were great. We had a great time dancing. We had lots of out of state guests staying with us. So I just appreciate you all making it a priority. And I really feel like if we put effort and say we're going to have it, we will get that sponsor. We'll get more visitors. We'll get more revenue. So please, please plan on having the rally next year. And I looked at it. July 4th is going to be on a Saturday. So it'll be like perfect. So let's continue. It's really what put us on the map. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perez. Next speaker.
Our next speaker is Maureen Nelson, to be followed by Peter Hernandez.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name's Maureen Nelson. I have not had the privilege of being in Hollister to experience the rally until this year. We didn't move here until 2019. I didn't know what I had been missing all that time. Caused my husband to buy a motorcycle to become one of the rally few to be riding in it. A little old to start riding a motorcycle, but it was a great day and I appreciated the opportunity. I know that you're looking at finances. I'm a number cruncher. I get it. But I think that it was unfair to say this could be viewed as an expense, as not an item that we should continue. We need to look at the costs. We need to look at how we promote this. We had citizens, residents of San Benito County that hadn't had this for years. And then all of a sudden, boom, we're going to do it. Excited us, but it was almost a little too late. Now we have time. Let them know we're doing it. We're running it. We're going with it every single year. It's only going to expand the exposure, the number of people coming, spending their time in San Benito County, investing in our infrastructure, in our businesses, investing in our hope. We need to keep this going. We need to create a community and keep a strong knit community, because this is who we are. This is what we've got. We've got our neighbors and we've got our pride. And this is a pride event. So please, thank you so much for bringing it back. Thank you for taking the courage. And you know what? It will be profitable. If you build it, they will come. I heard that in many movies. Let's keep it going. Thank you, council.
Thank you, Ms. Nelson. Next speaker.
Our next speaker is Peter Hernandez, to be followed by Bridget Balmanthorpe.
Hello, Mayor, City Council. Thank you. As one of the businesses that showed up for in support, obviously, of this biker rally. This is downtown Hollister. I own a Honda Shave Ice in downtown Hollister, and I can tell you our business increased revenue tenfold in 2 days, basically, right? So we actually increased our revenue 5 times each day. But that being said, I really do want to commend you for even considering this, because I know it was, especially in tough times. But the reality is just like a business owner, we're risk takers all day long, and the reality is we have to own the outcome of that risk. But you're not going to get a reward if you don't take this chance. And ultimately, this is part of the culture of San Benito County. We have to remember that we're 14 miles off the beaten path, right? We're it takes a bit to come into Hollister. Not very many people come here. We have to break the bedroom community cycle. That has a negative consequence to our revenue streams. You're not going to do that by not taking a chance. And I think this is already, it's shown years before. Maybe it needs a little bit of tweaking as far as how to make this more successful. I've actually been told by locals that are involved in rallies that it should be a longer rally. Ultimately, I would argue that the revenue or the expenses that you guys incurred will be pretty similar. Even if it's a longer rally, there'll be obviously added expenses, but it'll be less considerably, because of the fact that you're going to also exponentially increase revenue streams. So if you think about the reality of this, of what it's doing, it's bringing in folks that never visit Hollister. They don't know this community. And all of a sudden now they're being exposed to it. I know San Benito County, the Board of Supervisors, and even the city council is a part of the tourism advisory ad hoc. These are the kind of things that drive that conversation in a positive light, start to create opportunity. And before you know it, I mean, just a little side note, the Augusta rule was from basically the Augusta golf tournament that happened in Augusta, Georgia, in 1976. That's an IRS code rule that was literally instituted because you had so many people coming to a community. They needed places to stay. People were renting out their homes, and they were basically getting a tax benefit from it, right? They had to actually file under this rule. But my point is, these are the kind of creative things that start to permeate when you actually have that kind of a focus and you drive that. And ultimately, I think, as we saw these in my final point, these last 2 days of the biker rally, it was such a safe event. It was such a fun event. I didn't see any problems, and obviously there was a few, but personally I didn't see any. And all I could tell you is the rally goers, they want to protect this rally, so they actually self-police. So you're actually seeing more interest to protect this rally and make sure it's successful for future years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Next speaker.
Our next speaker is Mia Casey, to be followed by Jacqueline Hickerson.
I
Yes,
think we
they-
had.
Yeah, they've been waiting online for about 10 minutes. So
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and take them before the card that just
Okay.
came in.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So there's a lot I could say, but I don't think we need to. Can you hear me? I'm echoing.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So really, I think what I wanted to stress is that you don't have all the numbers. You don't know what the sales tax is, and you won't for a while. So I would just urge the council to get all your data before you start making decisions and giving direction. The other thing is, I was really disappointed about the fireworks show being canceled. We were told, I believe Councilmember Resendez, you said that you were going to go after a sponsorship from Amazon and get them to pay for the fireworks show so it would not be canceled. Well, you did go, they did get a sponsorship, but the show was canceled anyway, and the money was taken to be used elsewhere. So that was really disappointing. The other thing is, I would just ask you to look at how other rallies are done. Sturgis, the city of Sturgis, they do not run the rally. They do not pay out for the rally and plan the whole thing. There are promoters, there are nonprofits and business groups that work together. The city just provides some infrastructure. It is a huge burden for the city of Hollister to put out $500,000 every year for a rally. We won't recoup that in sales tax. And I think I gave each of you a memo regarding the that Brett Miller had done for the rallies from around 2013 to 2017, they never had huge sales increases. So you can't rely on that. So please get all your data. Please take the time. Don't rush forward to do this without all of the information, and look at how other places are doing it. Don't take on a burden. You know, when it was run earlier, it was run by a nonprofit called HERC, and it was successful. And I do think there's potential here, and I do think the local economy can benefit. But I don't think the city of Hollister should be the one taking all their staff and spending all the time to put this rally on. I think it should be done by a nonprofit and by private business and promoters, the way other rallies are. And I guess that's all I have to say at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Casey. Appreciate the comment.
Our next
Next
speaker is
speaker.
Jacqueline Hickerson.
That wasn't too mean. No, it's not good. Okay.
Go ahead and unmute.
Mentioned his name.
Sorry about that. Hi, I would just like to say that I've had a great time in the past at previous rallies. I am all for the rally, but only if it's going to be self-supporting. I know that a lot of businesses were very successful during the rally, and I know we all want our businesses to succeed. I hope that we can move to plan a rally that is at least cost neutral to the city, and the local government is actually honest about what we're bringing in as sponsorships. There was a report by Councilmember Resendez on KION that we brought in $450,000 in sponsorships, but it was just reported by city manager that it was 109,000. So my question is, why was this falsely reported to the public? That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Hickerson. Next speaker.
Our next speaker is BH. Never mind, it's their hand up. Okay, our next speaker is going to be Stacy McGrady. You want to go ahead and unmute?
Hi, so thank you, Mayor, City Council, for allowing me the opportunity. I want to tell you, I love the rally. I love the idea of the rally. I've participated at the rally in past years. My husband rides a Harley. I get to ride on the back. I worked the rally the first years as a law enforcement officer. I love the rally, but I don't love it when it comes at the expense of our community, of our fireworks show, of our recreation programs, of the services that come first that are the priorities of government. And hosting a rally is not the priority of government. And I have to say, it's hard to accept the comments that are being made. And City Manager Maroney, thank you so much for your service. You've been wonderful. You have been an asset to our community, and you will be sorely missed. And I'm sorry that you're leaving. But I listened to the report, and I think that some of the comments that were made at whoever's direction were not completely genuine. For example, he reported that there were 2 assaults. Well, we know for a fact that there was an assault with a deadly weapon other than a gun, a knife. This is a felony that occurred at Whiskey Creek Bar during the rally hours. But that's not being reported, and I'd be interested to know what's the status of that investigation. Has there been an arrest made? What are we going to do to ensure the safety of our community? Because that is the role of government, and that has to come first. That is your priority. Everything else is secondary. And when you misstate the facts, when you minimize the truth, it makes me question, what else are you misstating? What else are you minimizing? What else happened that you're not really being forthcoming about? And that's where I have my concerns. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Grady. Next speaker.
Our next speaker is Bridget Baumanthorpe. Thank you for waiting. And then followed by Mark.
Hi, good evening again, Mayor
St. Stephen's. I loved the rally. I went there on both days. I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed the vibe. I enjoyed looking at the motorcycles and just being out there and watching. I probably bought 5 T-shirts, for my son and for my daughters. And I had family coming from San Jose. And I think, it puts Hollister on the map. So I can say if you do it every year, there will be more people coming from all throughout the states. It's going to be another Sturgis, if you speak, people will find out how beautiful San Benito County is. I've seen the bikers exploring Piscinas, the Highway 25 towards the Pinnacles, because a lot of people don't know much about Hollister or 25, the Pinnacles. So yeah, do the rally again every year, and I can just. A lot of people say they didn't know that the rally was happening, and that's why they didn't come from my perspective. So I think if you put it on the map now, you probably have twice as many people coming next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davenport.
The next speaker
Next
is
speaker.
Mark, to be followed by Mike.
A couple of small anecdotes and one suggestion. Suggestion first. Put the mic up closer. Okay, won't stay there. Is that good? Okay. I like bicycles. I'm not a biker, so I'm in conflict with my neighbor, but that's okay. Not really. I'm just kidding. There's a nice company that's north of us that I would like to see commingled with the biker event, and that's Specialized. The community here is just as big with bicycles as it is with motorcycles, and I'd like to see one year that we had bicycles inside this circle egg or whatever that were driving all around in circles. There's all kinds of things that you could do with bicycles. Unfortunately, there's the best bike shop around, I guess, is quitting, but that's an awesome bike shop. Anecdote wise, we went to the bookstore, bought a couple books. There were no books on bikes there. You had to go to a couple other adjacent businesses. They might need a few tips to, like, hey, buy some bike stuff. And then it was really cool because I don't really get a time to spend time with my daughter, but we went and we walked the streets, and there was this one house that had a apricot tree, but they pre-picked the apricots and put them in a basket. And they said, these are, don't pick the apricots, just take them out of the basket. And the biggest thing that I missed was I couldn't find an apricot freeze from BNR apricots. So I don't know if they were downtown or not, but financially, I have no idea what to do about the thing, other than get more sponsors, get more events that people can pay to go. I'm old enough where we used to go to the concerts on private property, and I guess that's a no-no anymore. Ronnie Montrose isn't around anymore. Rock Candy Baby.
Thank you.
Our next speaker
Thank
is
you,
Mike.
Mark.
Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. I guess, like, before you even see me, you already know I'm for the rally, right? So I just wanted to say thank you for putting this on. You guys had a short amount of time to put this on, and I just want to say thank you. It was a pretty good turnout. I do, walking through the streets and everything, I do think about where it could have been if we didn't stop promoting it. If we didn't have people really going out of their way to oppose it. And it's kind of just something to think about where we can be in the future. And I really hope that we push forward. And I just want to say thank you for everything. I keep hearing, the cost of this, the cost outweighed what we made from taxes. You know, there's a bunch of other factors that aren't being counted as is, it's almost impossible to count. I think you did mention stuff like waitresses and bartenders and businesses, and all that money is going to go back into our community. And there is, I forgot the actual amount, but there's like the law of diminishing returns where about 9% gets lost outside of the the benefit. Well, that 90% still keeps staying in our community, keeps revolving here. And we had to think about that. But we also had to think about, apart from money and like everything, there's a quality of life, giving your constituents and everybody what they want, what we voted for, and what we continue to want. That's something that we had to make sure that we upheld, because the rally is Hollister. You know, we wouldn't be Hollister without it. There's just, you know, we're known for tomatoes, apricots, bikers, you know, farmers, cattle. That's just what it is. And then we had to find a way to keep it going forward. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time to calculate everything, all the council members for voting for it and actually like wanting to do it and not just standing on a pedestal saying, I'm going to vote for it. And then when it comes time for it, they backed out, you know? So I just want to say thank you for everything. And, you know, long live the rally, and I guess the top headers too, right?
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate your comment.
Those are all the speakers we have. for this
Okay,
item.
great. Thank you. Thank you to all the speakers. I appreciate the variety of thoughts and expressions of concern. So we want to take all of those into consideration. So I'm going to close the public comment section now and come back to council and see if we have any other questions or comments. Do you want to make comment? Councilmember Resendez, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, our friends out there, road shows. How are you guys doing? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Congratulations to you guys for partnering with us on putting off such an amazing event to celebrate our culture, our history here in the community. I think I've said it to you 1,000 times when I saw you guys, but I'm so indebted to you and I'm so grateful for you partnering with us and making this year's rally such a huge success. Thank you, Mr. Burke. Thank you to the road shows for all your help and your dedication to our city, not just for this rally, but the previous years as well. Thank you. Mr. City Manager, I don't know how we could have done this without you. I really don't know how we could have done this without you. You were the driving force that we needed to help lead the city to bring back the biker rally. I'm so indebted to you. We're gonna miss you since you're not gonna be here next year, but thank you for all the work that you do, because oftentimes it does go unnoticed. It's part of your job, but you did so much to make sure that we have the rally come forward in such a short amount of time. And we're so grateful to you. And I've never seen anything like that. Even though it was my first time being involved in bringing a rally, I think you did an outstanding job. So thank you. Thank you to all of our staff members for putting together, keeping us safe out there, answering the call. Thank you to our partners at the Downtown Association, all of the business owners, and thank you to everybody that came out here today as well. Lastly, I want to say thank you to Mayor Roxanne Stevens. Thank you to Councilmember Priscilla Deanda and Vice Mayor Rudy Pache for voting yes to bring back the biker rally, not getting into the mud and playing dirty politics with anybody else, but just coming through on your word that you gave to the people of Hollister when you ran for office. And I'm so, so grateful and happy that you were able to partner with me in doing that as well. Points, sorry, I know I'm long-winded. 2-day rally, I think we do have to do their 2-day rally. If you're asking that question, can you bring up, oh, here it is, perfect, see? No, I don't think that we should dissolve the ad hoc. Yes, absolutely. I want to continue to partner with road shows, and I hope that they would work with us again. And 100%. I think once we commission economic impact report to show to truly show how all the dollars came into this community and how it just circulated throughout our community, it's gonna be a win-win. I just want to tell you guys this. Again, I know I'm long-winded, Mayor, but I could not believe when we came around the corner, we had just parked, we came from the kiddie parade, we came around the corner. It was a beautiful sight to see for our city. After that moment, I went back and I watched the wild one. I did research. I learned about the booze fighters because we represent Hollister. We represent the people here in Hollister. And I think that everybody should go back and learn, like I did, about why Hollister's the Mecca, why it's on the map, and why we need to continue to support the biker rally, the biker community, and why people came and said hello and thank you from Australia, Wyoming, Las Vegas, Los Angeles. I can't even tell you how many people we met. So a few people want to get on and want to try to derail things. We don't have to listen to them anymore. They're not here. These people are here. They're here to represent you. Thank you to all of our partners. Thank you to my colleagues. Thank you to the mayor. Thank you, Hollister. And let's do it again every single year. And like I said before, I want it to come back to make it a legally binding ballot measure in 2026 to lock down the rally for this year and every single year moving forward, because the people will. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Rosales. Okay, so again, I'm going to ask you to hold off on your applause. I appreciate your enthusiasm. Councilmember Down, did you have any comments or do you want me to come back? Sorry, cut you off guard. Okay. Any comments on this side of the guys? Councilmember Morales, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think I said it before, I think city manager and staff did a phenomenal job. I went to the rally on Friday and it was just amazing how many people were there, the bikes, the culture. It was, the businesses had tons of people just throughout the whole block. So it was definitely a sight to see. It's something that I did vote for every single time it came forward. I voted yes for it. I think my only concern, so going down the list, no, I don't see any issue with any of it. I think if we are going to put it on the ballot, that we should accompany with a tax. And I say that because if the city of Hollister continues to have a downward budgetary impact, then we're looking at $500,000 to $600,000 that we're going to have to transfer from our general fund to fund the rally. And so if you don't have money, then you have to cut other places. So either we cut or we bring in money. So if we are going to put it on the ballot, let's also put a tax to properly fund that rally so that we can also buy the infrastructure to replace the lights downtown, to hopefully fund the necessary staffing in order to get things done. And this is going to be part of the city of Hollister, then there needs to be the infrastructure and the money to fund it. Otherwise, you're going to have, which we're already having, a decrease in revenue, a decrease in services. And if you add an additional $500,000 to $600,000 every year, then that will just continue to reduce the budget that we have to provide services to all of our residents. And Hollister is not like $1 billion organization. It's a $40 million organization. So $500,000 to $600,000 is a significant amount of money, which I think we should do. But I think it should be there should be some method of bringing in revenue in order for it to be funded.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Morales. Vice Mayor Bishop, go ahead.
Yeah, I too want to thank Chief Reynoso and Chief Goulding for keeping us safe and making it a safe event. That was one of my biggest concerns, is that it's fun, right? We want to have a great time and provide an opportunity to get people down here to, give our businesses an opportunity to put on promotion and utilize the influx of people to their benefit so they can make additional money. It was really to make, an opportunity for people to check out our town, how cool Hollister can be, how cool San Benito County can be. We've got a lot of really cool roads. California 25 is a really epic road. If you take it all the way down to King City, it's a really nice road. Cienega Road is also very nice. I ride it. Somebody was talking about cycling earlier. I love taking Cienega and just riding my bicycle out there. It's a very fun road. South Side's very cool too, and a lot of cool destinations. Just to remind people of what Hollister and San Benito County have to offer. The wineries out there are great. The dam has their vineyards, that little place where people can go hang out and have something to wash down some food. The event was, not only was it safe thanks to our chiefs, it was great. Charles Wall, Parks and Rec did an awesome job. It was family oriented too. That was another thing that I was hoping for. Seeing kids out, holding hands with mom and dad, checking out some cool bikes. The kiddie parade went off awesome. I haven't had a Rice Krispies treat in a minute, and I took a couple of those, put them in my pockets, and I rode my bike down. So I had a couple smashed Rice Krispies treats when I finally made my way over. And the birthplace of the American biker, that's a pretty cool thing. So it did go down safe. The money wasn't quite where I was hoping it would be. I was really hoping for parity, whereby we didn't have to pay to have it. I think the money will likely come if we keep it going, right? And businesses will have an opportunity to promote themselves and take advantage and harness the power of just having so many more people. When it comes to direction, like Council Member Morales, I'm really good with everything. My biggest, the biggest one that I'm looking at is the last one. Does the City Council wish to commission an economic impact report on the 2025 rally? I would love to see additional data as to how, sales tax really isn't going to generate too much out of this. It's going to have to be millions of dollars in sales for us to get just a small amount of sales tax. But I'd love to see how the money filtered through our local economy. So I would love to see a little bit more of that. Can I ask this? Oh, great job, by the way, city manager. So thanks again for all your effort, and city staff. Thank you for everything so far. Can you tell us a little bit more about that economic impact report and what potential information we might be able to gain from it?
Yeah, so what they'll do traditionally in one of these reports is they'll look at the Placer AI data. So they would work with Omar and his team. So they look at travel patterns, amount of time in stays, those types of things. They look at hotel data. They work with the hotels. There's a lot of proprietary information out there that these firms have access to as well. And then they have economic modeling that they put in. And so what they'll do is they will go off estimates of, estimated spending per participant. And then they have their calculations on, what that would equate to back into the economy. And then they bring that forward. They can give you enormous reports or summary reports. But it's pretty much a industry standard. If you're going to be into the big event business, you typically have one of those, and it'll let you know kind of what the true impact. And it's a consultant, so they all have their methods. Nothing's perfect, obviously, but it gives you a different perspective to look at. You're right with sales tax. $50 million in tangible sales is $1 million of sales tax, and that's because we have an additional 1% Measure W tax as well, right? So sales tax is one means. You're not going to fund big events just off, a sales tax. It's a revenue stream. There's no silver bullet. So you have different revenue streams that come in, as well as the TOT. As you have more hotels come online, that would be, additional revenue if they're in the city or within the county as well. On the sales tax side as well, We do get a little bit of Prop 172 that's generated from that. The county actually would benefits from that as well. So there is a tax benefit as well to the county for any increased sales tax. But they'll go through and they analyze all of that and then present it back to you. They would come in and give a presentation along with a report for you to keep and to and then if that's something you want to analyze each year as part of it, you would bake it in as an expense, or you could do them every few years, if that's something that you're interested in. What's great is with the way that the data works from like the subscription that Omar has, those tools are a real game changer where they can actually go backwards and figure out, because that would give you the opportunity to look at the 2025 as well, because they can go back and look at that data. So.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's actually one out there. This one's pretty high level because it's this, Santa Clara has the Super Bowl coming and the World Cup. And so they've actually, and I'm not sure which agency commissioned it, whether it was a chamber or one of the local governments, but you can Google one of those reports and find that now, and it shows you all the different things that they look at.
we all do
Okay.
that. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, great. That's good. Okay, so I will just chime in briefly. Clearly, I support the rally. I mean, obviously, you've seen me around talking about this, so clearly, I support it, and I support it for a whole host of reasons that have already been stated. Not the least of which is that it's the history, it's the culture, it is how Hollister identifies, right? That is it. That's what it comes down to. And also because of partnering those concepts with this idea of economic development, when you are trying to spur an economy, you have to latch onto something that helps to promote this economy, our local economy. This is what we have. This is our greatest asset. That's what we're known for. If we don't take advantage of that, then we are losing an incredible opportunity to spur our economy. If you're in Napa, your asset is wine, right? If you're in Santa Cruz, the asset is the beaches. Each community has an asset or a way that they identify that they have to tap into. This is ours. This is ours. So not only is it a cultural part of piece of us, it's our history, but it is an incredible asset. It is an incredible asset. And it hasn't been viewed in that way for a while. And we've lost incredible opportunities because of this. We can't wait to make a decision about this because we have to start. We've already started looking at the plan for next year as we started to debrief on this last year, but we have to continue with those efforts. We know that when we have more time to plan, we will be able to tighten up the plan. We also know that we're building trust among people who came to visit, among the vendors, among the sponsors. I can't imagine, I can only imagine in previous years where people thought it was going to happen, planned for it, invested, maybe even started to promote it within their business, only to find out that it was canceled. In order for us to rebuild that trust that it will in fact happen, we have to put it on again. And with that, we can encourage more sponsorships, more vendors, more visitors, all of which equals more to our local economy. There's just no other way around it. If we just say, no, we're not going to do it, we're going to wait and see if we can, make this plan a little bit better, and we can wait until who knows when, but we just simply can't. We have to keep up this momentum that we built. We have to build upon the trust, the little bit of trust that we have built by putting this on this 1 year and having it be so successful. The other thing that I will just say, I also want to say an incredible thank you to our city manager, not only for leading us through this process and getting this here, but now, even though we are very sad to know that he's going to be leaving and will not be here for our next rally, at least not. I mean, I'm sure he'll be here as a visitor. So, like, yeah, pull out the pocketbook, Dave. You're going to be spending some money next year as a visitor. But he put together a roadmap. We have a roadmap. We are not starting from zero. So what he has put in place, it's almost like we have a template now. And so thank you so much for that. It's not just simply the hard work, because nobody will deny the incredible hard work that you put into this. We know you worked like day and night, especially in the days leading up to the event, but you provided something that we will be able to use as we move towards the process of planning for next year, so that we're not trying to start from zero, which is where you started when we came in January and asked you to begin to lead us through this process. So we will work off of that and then make some tweaks, because we know that we do need to make some tweaks. So thank you so much for that, Dave. We are indebted to you for that. And I just want to make a quick little comment to the person. I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was Mark, but I'm not positive, about the bookstore. Can I just tell you that when you went in there, they must have been sold out, because they did have books on the rally. We went in and spoke to Adam Hill before the rally, and he had the books all over the place, and we were so happy to see them. So they must have sold out in the same way that many of the other vendors sold out of merchandise that were related to bikes and the rally itself. So I think for him and for other businesses, what the lesson learned is you need more inventory, because people were running out of inventory, but there were books. So I just wanted to make that little comment. So I think that for the hope is that for next year, as we have more time to plan, that our numbers will just simply improve overall. And so think of part of this as being not just simply what we're doing for the community, not responding to what our residents want, not just simply honoring our history and our culture, but making an investment, right? So we have to make an investment. Mr. Hernandez spoke around taking risk. We took a big risk in doing this event this year. We felt it. We kind of knew we did not know what to expect because we hadn't done it in so long. And we think that it paid off, and we believe that it will pay off better next time that we do it, especially with more time to plan. So we have to invest into our local economy so that with time, it continues to grow our economy. The economic feasibility study is going to be incredibly important so that we can learn not just simply what happens on that weekend, but how it triggers other ways that our economy can grow. So that will be I think will be crucial. So obviously, for the last question on your list, Dave, I am in full support of that. For the first question, I think we need to stick to the 2-day. I don't know that we're quite ready to move away from the 2-day, not quite yet. We have one rally under our belt, so I think we do need the 2-day. And so luckily 4th of July is on Saturday, so we can do a Friday, Saturday again. That was very successful this year. Hopefully in future years, it will grow to a larger event and more days, but I think we do have to stick to the 2 days for the next year. In terms of the ad hoc, so Councilmember Morales, I'll just say that I do think we have to dissolve this one because it's a 2025 ad hoc. So I think we dissolve that and then reestablish a 2026 one. So I think that's what we have to do. So I would say, let's dissolve this one and let's do it again. But we do need to have an ad hoc for 2026. We just need to change the number, right, with the 5 to 6 and revote on who the members will be. And then also, I'm in full support of having roadshows be our partner in this. Again, they came and really helped us during a time that was very difficult from a short period of time. We want to build off of that. They did such a great job. And so I think we do need to stick with them for next year as we are building off of the momentum that we built for this year. So the answer to that one for question number 3 for me is yes. Okay, so that's all I'm going to have to say. And just a last thank you to all staff for everything that they did. to bring the rally together. Thank you to all the speakers, everybody who showed up, and both on Zoom and in person. We appreciate all of your comments there. It's so important for us to hear from all of our constituents. Okay, so I think we need to move towards making a motion to answer these questions. So let me check with our city attorney. Are we doing one at a time? Are we doing all of them at once for as a motion? How do we do?
You can do one at a time. It's just giving direction, and then these items will be brought back.
Okay, so we don't need to do a motion. We're just going to give direction. Okay, so this is how I'm going to do it. Then I'm going to just ask for a thumbs up, as has been now a little bit of our practice. Go ahead, Councilmember Rao. Let's go ahead.
So David, so if we're moving forward with the rally, was this part of our approved budget already? Or do we need to do a budget mod in order to put some funds aside?
For next year, you would need to, and then the balance, once all the final bills are in, then we would bring that in a mid-year adjustment to true up. And then you would also have your budget appropriation for what you would think your expenditures are going to be for the remainder of the budget year. And then as you bring your budget forward for 26, 27, you would have budget appropriation there. It does make it a little bit tricky just because it's so close to the start of a fiscal year. So.
Okay, thanks for that question.
And it's important to ask because some of the encumbrances will be done in 2025,
That is correct.
right? So you'll figure that out. So you'll take that money from like your budget or something?
So what we would have to do is you would look at how your year end, which you had your projections, which that went into the budget assumptions for 25, 26. And then you would bring forward with the item of proposed budget and then the budget adjustments. That's something that would be approved by council.
Councilmember Resendez.
Thank you, Mayor Stevens.
Councilmember Rouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my question was like, if we enter into a contract right now, right, with road shows, that's an FY25 encumbrance, so that we could put that money aside so he can do some work. That's not in next year's budget allocation. That would be in this year's budget allocation. That was my question.
Thank you, Mayor. So, and just so we're clear, Amazon has committed to a multi-year deal of giving us that fund for how many years, or are we not? What's the status on that? In other words, can we count on that same $250,000 from Amazon to allocate in whatever way we choose to, whether it's bathrooms or the biker rally? And if so, for how many years can we count on that?
So the number of years hasn't been solidified yet. It is per them a multi-year agreement.
Okay.
And at these fund levels at a minimum.
All right. So at a minimum, $250,000 for multi-years is what I'm understanding. So we can count on that $250,000 again from Amazon, just like we did last year.
Yeah, they have not, signed an agreement or anything, but that is the representations that have been made.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Amazon.
Okay, so we're gonna let's go question by question. So first of all, do we want to keep it at a 2-day event, and if you wanted a 2-day event, thumbs up. 2 days, yeah. Okay, so I think we're all going to go for 2 days. So 2 days. So not going to ask about the 3-day, and then so that means 3 and 4 since we're selecting the 2-day event. Do we want to sunset the 2025? So I'm going to say a thumbs up, yes. So we're going to, yes. Okay. And then with that, I would just add that we need to do the 26 one, right?
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Thank you. Can we just get that on the consent agenda to bring forward, or do we have to bring it during regular agenda items again? It seems like it can go under consent.
That would be something that could be brought under consent.
So if my suggestion, Mayor Stevens, if it's okay, we just bring it under consent, change the number, have the same ad hoc committee members, and then we can vote on it at the next meeting.
Yeah, it would just be identifying who the 2 members are going to be.
And I, just for the sake of consistency, I would suggest that it's the same 2 members that were on the last one.
Okay, so let me ask the rest of us, do we want it on consent or do we, so if you think it should be an agenda item, um, if you think it's okay on consent, thumbs up. Okay. Okay, so I think we're good with that then. Okay, good. And then the next question.
Mayor Stevens, would you want the same two members to continue to serve?
Yeah, I think
when it
that's
brings
what that
comes
was,
back?
yeah. Okay, thank you. And then road shows. So thumbs up to road shows for what, at least another year. Okay, so we're good with that. And then do we want the economic impact report? Thumbs up. Okay, so we got 4 thumbs up on that one. Okay, all right. Another question?
And I know we've talked about this before. I just don't remember if we got either direction or consensus, city clerk, about bringing it back to make it a legally binding, whatever that looks like. I just want to have it brought back for consideration to make it a legally binding ballot measure.
So there was direction at a council meeting maybe 6-ish months ago, maybe not quite that long, to bring it back to discuss a future ballot measure for that. And so we wanted to wait until this report, so we'll plan to bring it back sometime in the fall.
Perfect, thank you.
Since we already had that direction, we didn't ask this evening. So.
Thanks, I forget. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for that. It was a long agenda item. I think well worth the discussion and the comments. So we're going to move on. So thank you everybody who participated in this part of the agenda. We're going to move on to 8.2 discussion of a potential cost recovery ordinance. Thank you for that enthusiasm. Thank you. Thank you for coming, everyone. Discussion of a potential cost recovery ordinance recovering the emergency response costs for driving while under the influence. Can we have a staff report?
Good evening, Madam
Good
Mayor, members
evening.
of the City Council. Before you have a item in regards to a discussion and on direction from the City Council.
Yeah, let's let them get the doors closer, Chief, so we can hear you. I apologize, Chief. They're trying to just get the noise down in the lobby. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you. Okay,
Thank
go
you.
ahead, Chief.
Thank you. Despite ongoing public education efforts and well-documented dangers of DUI, the dangers of DUI driving, not only in our community, but throughout the state and the United States, these DUI incidents continue to pose a significant threat to public safety, to the citizens of Hollister, not just to those people driving under the influence, but the innocent community members that are at risk of serious injury. The Hollister Police Department and the Fire Department dedicate resources, a substantial amount of time and energy dealing with DUI crashes and DUI arrests. Between January 22nd and August of this year, the Hollister public safety personnel, police and fire have responded to 77 DUI related traffic collisions. During that same period of time, the police department has made 525 DUI arrests. So this is an ongoing problem, and it's something that we try to address with our OTS grant, with DUI checkpoints, with saturation patrols, but it's still an issue. Under California Government Code Section 5314150, municipalities are authorized to recover costs associated with emergency responses to DUI incidents. Several cities, including, for instance, the city of Clovis, already implement an ordinance to pursue such cost recovery. The government code permits recovery in cases where DUI arrests has been made, DUI accidents in coordination, or if they involve pursuits or other dangerous driving. So the time that the officer and fire personnel are dedicated to a DUI collision, for instance, can be recuperated. The city would assess what the fees would be to recover the cost of our responses. It is allowed under this section of government code, not other accidents or anything like that. This is just strictly for DUI accidents. And there is a sample of an ordinance that was prepared by your city attorney, Robert Emily, and along with as an attachment. And staff is just asking for direction. If you would like, the city council would like us to pursue a possible ordinance that would recover the cost for police and fire personnel in responding to DUI accidents.
Okay, great. Thank you for that, Chief. Questions? Does anybody have any questions, comments? I just have a couple questions. So I just want to get a sense of what this would look like in real life. So would it be similar to like, it's a DUI, you go to court, there's a fine. So this will be part of that fine, or is this like a bill that they receive in the mail later that they have to pay? Do you know how that would look like in real life, or do we have to still figure that level of detail out as city staff?
Thank you for the question. Very good question. It is something that the city would prepare an invoice. It would assess the time it took. All the DUI incidents are different. One could take half an hour, another one could take 2 or 3 hours, depending on the severity. A mechanism will be put in place by the city to calculate the average cost of a firefighter, and officers calculate how many were working the scene. An invoice would be produced at those approved rates, and that invoice would be sent to the DUI driver, the person driving it. There is a possibility that we could submit that invoice to the district attorney, and when they assess the fines, that something like that could be added on. But it's designed right now to be a separate invoice, and the city can decide how to pursue that, if how strictly you want to pursue recovery from the individuals.
Okay. Okay. And okay, so that was going to be a little bit of my follow-up question. What if they don't pay? Which, that's always a possibility. So then what efforts or what possibilities do we have to, try to recoup those dollars?
Well, currently we do have a system in place for our parking citation and administrative citations. We have a partner who pursues those costs. They're very successful in recovering costs. When it comes to anything vehicle related, they can attach fees to the vehicle registration. They can also attach fees to tax returns. They have that mechanism in place. Since we've been using them, the city has been recovering a lot more of the fines associated with administrative citations and parking sites. In the past, we've actually, for the administrative citations, we've actually sued them in small claims court. That takes a lot of staff time, a lot of overhead, and you have to track the person down. There was a lot of things that needed to happen, and we were very, very unsuccessful in that. Now that we have this partner, we've been very successful. They do take a percentage of the costs associated with recovery, but we're getting money that we didn't have before with that company. That's something that we can speak with them, and they could possibly handle that. But this is an open discussion in the direction that the council would like us to go.
Okay. Okay, great. Thanks for those answers. Go ahead, Councilmember Resendes.
Thank you. So I'm trying to figure this out in my head, right? So somebody gets a DUI, you want to go after them for cost recovery for your services, essentially, and we need a city ordinance to do that.
There is a government code that allows you to do this. There's a carve out in the state code that allows cities to do this, but you have to have your own ordinance in place for you.
Okay, and you're going to partner with an agency or a firm that's going to help you go after the person who was driving under the influence to recover that money.
That's one direction we could go with that.
Okay, what are you doing as far as like preventative measures? I know you do things in the community, but this seems like it's something that's like after the fact. What are you doing proactively rather than reactively?
Well, like I mentioned before, we do this DUI saturation patrols. We do advertising. We partner with OTS and NHTSA, who puts out social media campaigns about safe driving. There's all these campaigns talking about, do not drink and drive, get a driver, designated driver. All that outreach has been done for years. We do DUI checkpoints, and a DUI checkpoint, we do several of them, and we may not arrest anyone at the checkpoint, But part of the success of a checkpoint is awareness that we announce ahead of time. There's going to be a checkpoint. It gets into people's mind. Maybe I should get an Uber. Maybe I should get a ride. All these things are stuff that all departments do to try to discourage DUI driving.
And we're getting grant funding for those.
Correct.
More often than
We
not,
have
right?
for the
Yeah.
last 14 years.
Okay. I'm really torn, I'll be honest with you. Do you have any data? Do you have any data to show like how much cost recovery or how much fees are we paying or spending to respond to the DUI related incidents over the last, I don't know, so many years or so or whatnot?
No, I don't have any of that data. We haven't been tracking it to be able to show. We know how many accidents we have.
Yeah.
But we would have to go back and look into the dispatch system and calculate how many people were there and how much time was
Yeah.
spent.
But and so moving forward, you're gonna have to do that.
Yes.
And then that's also you're also going to have to use your time to do that to, well, no, not necessarily cost
very-
recovery, just for the incident.
Just for the incident, and it's
Okay.
all in the computer system. We can generate a report, and it'll be really simple to do
Okay.
that.
Okay, so then I guess like for me, Chief, I would like to see that number. I'd like to see what those costs look like. And I'm also really torn about like, for me personally, and I might be getting in trouble for saying this, but I really do think that alcoholism is like a disease. It's a form of some type of a disease. And I think that if we can do more proactive measures and get people help and get them to stop drinking and driving, to be smarter about their choices, I'd rather invest in that. I know not everybody would agree with that. And I do think that once people do get in trouble for DUIs or for any type of crime, we tend to overreact, and it's hard for them to dig themselves out of that. So for me, it feels like this might be another layer, but I'm just wondering like if we could look at the cost, and I don't know how comfortable I'd be with like creating more harm in our community rather than like helping these people. That's where I'm coming from. I hope that makes sense to you.
It does make sense. I agree with you that in many of these cases, the people have an illness that they need they need help. But we're also looking at an angle of they're hurting innocent
I
people.
100% get
And
that too.
those
That's why I'm
people
so
are part of our
torn.
community.
Yeah.
And there's advertisement, there's common sense, it's common language. Everybody knows that you're not supposed to do it. But
Yeah.
people are still doing it.
I agree.
And the cost of doing business, the cost of the city, of our officers and firefighters are always an issue. And this is a mechanism in place by the government that's already given. This has
Right.
been in place for years, for decades.
Right.
And we've never taken advantage of this.
Right.
And this is a way just to recover a portion of the cost of responding to DUIs. It doesn't involve any other accident. It doesn't involve traffic citations of any other kind, just DUIs.
Right. And again, for right now, I just want to see a little bit more data. Maybe you can bring us some more information about what other communities are doing this, what their numbers look like. And if there's other means, like, is this something that is like the end all be all? Like, is this what's working, what's helping people in other communities? Or is there other things that are in place? And this might be like a little bit of an outdated type of, I don't want to say service, but a system. I don't know. I'm just, again, that's where I'm at personally with it. So for tonight, I don't feel comfortable moving forward with it. I'll be honest with you. I still have a lot of questions. Thank you though.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Resendez. Other questions or comments? Go ahead, Councilmember Morales.
And I think thank you for bringing this presentation. I think this would be great for the city to implement an ordinance for us to do some cost recovery. We're looking at cognitive behavioral interventions and recouping some of the costs is also part of a preventative measure. I mean, that is part of how we know the system looks at changing behavior. It's an evidence-based way of deterring people from doing it, just like everything else. The checkpoints, the social media, advocacy groups, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. At the end of the day, there are people that are impacted. There's victims. People lose their lives. People are harmed in so many different ways. And it's not just the individual, it's families and the entire community. So I think this is a great way. And yes, I agree, but you know, it's the county's responsibility to fund the alcohol or drug, because now it's about being an impaired driver, right? It's not just alcohol, it's also marijuana or anything, medication. So, you know, we could look at partnering with the county to do a little bit more preventative work, but I think this is one, and I'm surprised that we haven't done this before, because this also then allows our officers to have a little bit more money to do some of that work, some of that preventative work, and maybe look at, you know, starting the work in junior high or high school in terms of more outreach or more education or anything, but it allows us some method of cost recovery. And it does require a lot of resources, not just from responding, but the medical care, our staff time, the cleanup. And so it would be to our benefit to look at this.
Right on. Thank you, Councilmember Morales. Do you have a quick comment?
I do.
Go ahead.
I think it's a pretty good idea. It's simple seeming. I too, like Council Member Resendez, I'd like to know kind of like in a ballpark how much it might, DUI costs the offender a lot of money, but it's like 10 grand, right? But I mean, the community, the effects could be even more catastrophic than just $10,000. It's, money's one thing, but somebody's life or an injury that's catastrophic. I mean, a knee or a hip or something like that, if that's struck a human being, could be huge. I would just like to know more about how it mentions in your presentation. Clovis is already doing this. I'd like to see kind of like what they're doing. I always kind of like to kind of benchmark against other communities and see how this is going over there. But I'm thinking about this park near where I live, McCarthy Park. It's next to Alvarado. That very corner of Alvarado and McCarthy, there's not a telephone pole, it's a light pole, and you can see it's clearly been struck by a vehicle. And the lamp is still up there, but I can't imagine that person was sober when they hit that light pole, because it's literally shining a light down on itself, and it's like 2 feet in on the curb, and it's huge dent in it, and it's crooked kind of, but it's still erect. It's totally working. But I don't even know. I was talking to the city manager, and those things are not cheap. How much is just a light pole? And we're not talking about a human life, but how much is just a light pole?
I'm gonna look over to William. It's probably about what,
Oh, he's-
$75,000, $100,000, depending on. I mean, if you're putting up a new one and there's you've got to run power to it, those costs grow. Signal lights are even much more.
Oh, okay. So this wouldn't even pay much of that, but like, I mean, clearly this person was probably not in the best judgment if they're driving their vehicle in a manner in which it's going 2 feet up on the curb and it's hitting this lane. So I think it's an elegantly simple way of recouping some of the costs that are incurred as a result of just preventable. But I guess it more of an issue. It's people are looking at it like a disease, but it's something before you take your first sip, you really should be thinking about what you're going to do after your last one, and where those keys are going to reside, and what's going to happen after you're done. So I would like just more information.
Yeah,
Okay,
in
thank you.
regards to what you mentioned, this is modeled after the Clovis ordinance. So that's the example that we're using. An estimate that's in there is just a rough estimate of maybe $30,000 a year if there's $1,000 in recovery per incident. If it's not too complicated, not too ongoing, not lasting several hours. The example you gave about the pole, if a DUI crashed into a pole, the city can easily recover that cost. But we can't recover our costs until there's an ordinance in place.
So I did want to add really quickly, and Chief can correct me if I'm wrong, but realistically, this isn't just an individual gets stopped for DUI and then they get a bill from the city. This is an individual who is under the influence of alcohol or drugs. And then as a result of that, they also exhibit negligent behavior that causes significant threat to life, safety, property damage. So it's not just an individual gets stopped for a DUI, they don't damage anything, they don't cause a wreck. They're not going to get a bill from us for time. But if that individual drives the wrong way on a one-way street and crashes into a light pole, that's going to require the police department to respond, the fire department, public works, everyone else. And so in that type of a situation, that's when the city would then send them a bill for those costs.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I don't, yeah, all my questions have been answered, so I don't need to add any more to that discussion. Did you have another question, Councilmember Wilson?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So yeah, I was wondering, Chief, if you were going to bring it back, but I might have changed my mind by now, I'll be honest with you. If you were going to bring it back, if we could do like a, like kind of like a step, like first offense, second offense type of thing. But I feel pretty comfortable with what the city attorney had just said. I really do believe in recovery, but again, I don't have any tolerance for like innocent people getting hurt, obviously, right? So again, it's really hard, but I feel pretty good about what he said. My other question is, who's the company that we're going to be contracting with?
The company that we use is a company called Phoenix Group, and that's something we use for our citations.
Okay.
That's just one company out there.
So we already have
with
like an
direction.
established relationship.
We do
with
have an
them and-
established relationship with them. It's been an excellent relationship for the last over a decade. with
All
them.
right. I'll go ahead and move forward with supporting this, but I would just ask that you do come back and just give us an update, maybe after 6 months and then maybe annually after that, if that's okay. I know you're looking for direction.
Right, so it would just be direction. If
Sure.
this was going to be adopted, it would still come back for
Yeah.
a first and second reading.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
got
have
it.
to get a
Thank you.
draft. I mean, and to that, I mean, yeah, we've seen the draft that is specific to Hollister. Obviously, we want to see that. And then I think that the points around like ways that we would recover, so those kinds of things, examples of all of that, those different, so we make decisions around that. My other question was kind of like elaborating upon a couple of comments that were already made. So in terms of prevention, right? So this is obviously after the fact, but is it possible to use some of those dollars towards something that's preventative, even though we're recovering costs that are specific? So we're like talking about that light that is damaged. That's a specific cost, right? We want to recover that, but could we use some of those dollars to enhance some of our prevention work? And you don't have to answer that right now, but and if maybe that can be part of, like, if yes, then this is how we could do that, because we want to recover the cost, but is there a way to enhance prevention dollars through this process? I don't know. And again, this can.
Yeah, my understanding is the recovery. You're right. And your statement is correct.
Yeah.
You're recovering some of the costs. And it's not going to be all of the costs in many situations, but the council can decide how you want to spend.
How to use
the
that money.
That money will go into the general fund
Yeah.
to recoup the cost or attempt to recoup the cost. How
Okay.
that money is spent, it depends on the direction of the city
Okay.
council.
Okay. I mean, it just gives us something to think about, right? Maybe that is something.
And Councilman Morales is correct. The county does do a lot of that outreach to the community. It's not just DUI, alcohol, it's drugs as well. There's outreach about that. There's advertisements. We partner with OTS and we do all of that. It is something, I'm sorry, there is something that is, they often say $10,000 is the average cost of a DUI arrest
Mhm.
when you factor in the fines, the court. So they're throwing that out there as a means for people to understand that maybe they make this a decision not to drive drunk.
Yeah.
This
Costing
is
them.
something else that can be used in that same direction. It's like the city can actually recover costs too, and you're going to have to pay that. Your insurance doesn't pay that.
Right.
You have to pay that. That's not covered by your insurance. So our goal is, I think it's your same goal, nobody being hurt on the street, people getting the help they need. But we're talking about situations where they've already made so many bad decisions that they put other people at risk in our community.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I think, let me just check. So general direction so far is that we come back with a draft, for general support for this with some of the examples that we asked for. And then, obviously something that's real specific to Hollister. So thumbs up if you're good with that. So we're going to do thumbs up on this. Okay, so we're good. Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. We look forward to seeing that.
And Mayor Stevens, I'm just going to report for the record, we have no public comments.
Oh,
for this
sorry
item.
about that. I totally bypassed that. Sorry about that. Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you. Okay, so let me. Are you guys okay with going to the last item and then we'll take a break before closed session? You guys okay with that? We'll
We still
just
have
power
the
through?
two. We have
still
this
have-
item and then we have two public hearing items. So
But is our
before
public
closed session.
hearing before closed session?
Yes. So we
should we do this item and then take a break before public hearing?
Yeah, because we
Oh, you
do
guys
have
okay with that?
a guest as well. We have Steve from the county for here for item 8.3 as well. So
Okay, let's do that. Let's do this item and then we'll take a quick break before public hearing. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. William By, Public Works Director. The item before you tonight is a request from the County of San Benito to consider approving a resolution to waive or reduce the impact fees associated with a new transitional housing development that the county is building. The transitional housing project located at 3235 Southside Road will provide 16 tiny homes to serve vulnerable and at-risk populations within the community. The county has submitted a request to the city to waive or reduce the water and sewer impact fees associated with the project. The city's adopted fee schedule provides for the collection of impact fees for all new connections. For this project, the assessed fees would be the water impact fees, and the water impact fees are per connection. So there's not 16 connections, one for each tiny home. There's 2 connections. And then after our connection, then the county would make the connections to each of the 16 tiny homes. So those water impact fees would be $40,000, $40,144. The sewer impact fees, those are assessed per individual unit, and that includes sewer treatment and sewer collection, and those roughly 50%, and those are about $8,000 for each unit, and it's about 50-50 split between collection and treatment. So the total impact fees would be $169,000, just over $169,000. Now, the water impact fees don't include the meter costs or the installation of the meter. Those are separate fees that we charge for staff time and the cost of the meter. So the request here is just for the impact fees themselves. And we do have Steve Luke, the County Public Works Director here, if you have any questions.
yeah, and I'll just hop in, William. So our staff worked with Mr. Loop to go through and find the most effective way that we could do this, given the situation. It's pretty unique having 16 tiny homes. These are 400, 600, 800 square feet. And so what is presented to you under the impact fee at the full total price of 169 is within our authority. Anything under that would be something that would require council authority. That's not something that we as staff have authority to do. And so your options are basically, I mean, we put forward, what a full waiver looks like, what a 50%, what no waiver looks like, but ultimately the decision is yours. You couldn't go above this number, but you can be at that number or all the way down to 0. So that's why it is before you this evening.
Okay, thank you for that additional info. Okay, any questions, clarifications from council? Okay, go ahead, Councilmember Resendez.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I'm not in favor of waiving any impact fees ever because our citizens, our constituents have to pay for that. So, however, I do understand that this is transitional housing. It's gonna be transitional housing. They're tiny homes. So I'm just wondering, did we do something to ensure that we're giving them the true cost? Like, we're not charging them single family rates for tiny homes, are we?
We looked at the multifamily rates.
Okay, good.
The
So then,
multifamily, and I believe the studio, because they're about the size of a studio
Sure.
apartment.
Okay.
So we use the studio rate, multifamily rate, and for the water impact fees, it's just the size of the meter. And Originally, the design called for 2 6-inch meters, which was really overkill for this project. So we got that down to 2 2-inch meters, which really low. The impact fee for 1 6-inch meter is, I think, $125,000 for
Right.
one. So we got that down to 2 2-inch meters. So.
So I feel pretty comfortable charging the full amount here, knowing that you guys did actually work with them to lower the fees so that it's more accurate to the project that's out there. Okay, so I would not be in favor of waiving any fees at all then, and I would go with the full price, which is, I'm assuming the 169,019, right?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. No, okay. Vice Mayor, go ahead.
Mr. Villa, what can you tell us would have been the cost if you weren't so deft at working with them and the 2-inch meters versus the 6-inch ones? What would the cost have been if, you know, we didn't like do those?
I think I'm gonna correct myself because I think it's $60,000 per 6-inch meter. So that right there would have been 120,000 for the water meters.
For the
And
whole
then,
property?
excuse me?
For all 16?
Yeah, because there's only 2 meters. After the meter, then the county is gonna split the water lines up to the different tiny homes. There's only 2 meters that feed into the 16 tiny homes.
Okay.
So we just charge per connection for the water. So there's only 2 connections for this project. So that would have been $120,000. Impact fees would have been about 130, 140, somewhere in that range. So it would have been probably about double.
Okay, so this represents effectively like a half price. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
if
excellent.
if I could jump in on the single for the sewer, if you had all 16 and a single family, it's 139,000. A single for just the sewer, down to the studio is 131,000 in total. So that's an $8,000 reduction on the sewer side. And then William talked about the looking at the water meters.
Okay, and I mean, I should, but admittedly, I'm not totally sure how much money we get from outside agencies. Do we get any money from the state, federal government to help with homeless?
I don't think so. Let the
So
city manager answer
yeah,
that.
so we have right now in place, it's called the permanent local housing grant that was passed 2019, and that's through a proposition at the state level. So there's anytime property is recorded in California, there's a $75 fee that's assessed, and then that ends up going back to each of the communities. So it's kind of, you know, your allocation is dependent on the real estate transactions in your community. When that item came forward, you basically put together a 5-year plan, and then you get an allocation for each year. So we'll be bringing, that'll be something that will be coming back. The plan, we're going into year 5. And so the partnership that we had on that, we provided funding to Emmaus's house, but the remainder went to the county for homeless services to help support their shelter right now. And so that dollar amount ranges. It's typically about $180,000 a year. Emmaus's house gets 55,000, and then the balance pretty much is going to the county directly. No, that is, but that's a competitive program, the CDBG program. In the past, there have been times where that was something that was received and partnered with, but because this was a brand new funding stream that was new to everyone in California, the county had traditionally asked us for support for their efforts with the homeless community. And so staff brought that forward as a way to bring a dedicated revenue source to help support the county that was not a general fund dollar. So that's a very long way of saying, yes, we have a funding stream that we've partnered with the county on outside of this. This you know, these tiny homes It's fair to say that, many of the folks that would stay in those homes probably are coming out of the city of Hollister. Not all, the county is countywide. But how we support currently is through the contract with the county to help support their services over at the shelter on San Felipe.
Okay. So my whole thing is I just would like to, I've got a heart for the unhoused, and I would like it just to be fair, right, between the county and the city. I think people who are unhoused, whether they originated from the city or they originated from the county, I'm not really sure. I'm not worried about that. But I would like to work with the county and it be more or less fair. And would you say that the money that we're getting from the state it's being allocated fairly? Like we're getting 55 and they're getting something like 120 or something?
They get their own allocation as well. The county does.
Okay.
So, and I don't have the exact numbers, and I'm not sure Steve would of what they get. They have, because it's through their social services department, they have tons of different funding streams and grants, which is basically what paid for these tiny units, and will pay for the ongoing support of these units and the operations, because they'll have an operations side of the house as well. And so, because we're not in the social services business per se, that's typically a county function. But this issue is such a big issue. When that new pipeline of funds came in, we did partner with the county to say, hey, instead of us trying to figure out a way to invent new services that possibly would confuse the matter, the county needed support, and they will always need support for their shelter activities. So we said, we'll provide those dollars to you to help support those activities.
Okay. I just want to do our fair share. And it sounds to me like these impact fees could be potentially double. I'm understanding that correctly. And we're doing other measures to support the homeless. I'm feeling comfortable with just assessing the impact fees as stated.
Thank you.
Currently.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And I don't have any other questions. I mean, I think we got the gist of it. I was concerned about like some of the similar questions, but okay. So I'm going to then see if there's any public comment.
We have no public comments for this item.
Okay. So no public comments. So then come back and so what do we want to do with this item? So make a motion.
Well, I think it's a report too, right? Is it a report? No, we have to make a
We need a-
motion.
we need a
There is a
motion.
resolution.
Yeah, there's
Sorry,
a
it's getting
resolution.
late. Okay, so then I'll move to adopt the total impact fees as suggested by staff.
Can I get a second from someone?
Do you want me to name the number? Sorry, Rob. 169,019.
So
Okay,
that's to charge the full amount. Is that?
Yeah,
is that what I'm
is it my
Did I say it
understanding
wrong?
that, yeah,
Yeah.
so,
No action.
So no resolution is needed for that.
Okay.
yeah, if it is the will of the council to say, this is the dollar amount.
But just so we're correct, like this is the dollar amount at the discounted cost that you're talking about, multifamily, the 2 meters versus 2-inch versus 6, right? Okay,
Correct.
so then no action.
Yeah, this is,
needed.
that was the
no
most
action
within
would be
staff
50.
authority.
Okay,
Okay,
sorry.
so let me just get an indication. Councilmember Morales, are you okay with that? Okay, so Vice Mayor, Deanna, okay, I'm okay with that too. Okay, so I think we're in agreement that
We do need a second and a vote on that to deny the request.
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can we just get the actual motion to deny the request and then
The
a second?
motion,
Yeah,
okay,
so I'll move to deny.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Will. Thank you. Okay, so I think we will go ahead and take a 5-minute break. So I really am gonna like push for the 5 minutes. We gotta jump right in, 5 minutes, okay? Quick bathroom break. 9:10. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and continue on with our public hearings. First public hearing, thank you. Introduction. 9.1, introduce an ordinance adopting by reference the 2025 California Building Codes with amendments. May we have a staff report?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Rod Powell, Assistant City Manager and Interim Community Development Director. I'm just here briefly to introduce your building official, Gabe Martinez. I'm not sure that a number of you have met him yet. So Gabe's here to give you a little bit of an overview of how we're moving towards the adoption of the building codes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Ms. Martinez, good to meet you.
Good evening, Mayor, City
Mhm.
Council members. The state of California every 3 years adopts new building codes. The building codes are known as the California Building Standards Code, or also known as the California Title 24. We are currently working under the California Codes 2022, and we are working to replace them with the 2025. These codes typically are published in the months of July and August. That'll give us about 3 to 4 months for the building division, inspectors, building officials to become familiar with the changes, to take classes, and also to prepare a presentation to the City Council and present it in the month of November. However, well, it's not November, as you are aware. The reason why is because the state of California has passed a new law. This law is the AB 130, which has made this update a little bit more challenging. AB 130 prevents the local governments from making changes to residential building codes between October 1st, 2025 and June 1st, 2031. Which means that our time that we had of 4 months is no longer there. We only had a couple of weeks to prepare. And the staff with Mr. Powell, we all worked together getting as friendly as possible. And we also collaborated with nearby municipalities such as the city of Gilroy, the county of Monterey. And what we have done is we have prepared a new ordinance to include local amendments. And these amendments are to ensure that the city of Hollister can continue to meet its goals for safety, sustainability, and resilience for both residential and non-residential buildings.
And I'd like to just chime in a little bit if I
Okay.
may, Gabe. So,
Sure.
Gabe touched on AB 130, and this was the housing laws that were packaged as part of the budget trailer bill, which is, unique to this, basically a unique way to introduce housing law. What it essentially does is it's enacting a moratorium on new residential building code updates and freezing that window for 6 years. And so if you wanted to have your amendments in, you still can, but that window is shrunk extremely tight. So kudos to the staff, and I know all the building departments in the surrounding area are hustling to get their amendments in, because when you adopt the code, if you just adopt the state code as is, even your previous amendments would get wiped out by that code. So you have to make sure that everything is in there that you bring forward. And so the code basically can't be updated until June 1st of 2031. So, and we usually do this every 3 years. That third year middle period is basically canceled. So what the state did is said, these are the codes. You got a brief window to get them done. And these are the codes for the next 6 years in an effort to, address the housing shortage that, all the laws that they've been passing aim to address. So kudos to the staff. It's also the same when you'll hear the fire marshal's presentation as well. Everybody worked really hard to get these across the finish line in time for your consideration. Because of an October 1st date, this is an ordinance. So you'll have your first reading. If passed, you'd have your second reading at the next meeting. and you would meet that deadline to get them into the state.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. Okay, thank you, Ms. Martinez. Any questions for Ms. Martinez? Sorry.
One question.
Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
And forgive me for being just uninitiated, but I find it really interesting our part in local politics and how we fit into into the state almost. So my question is really, how much time did we have before to make these changes? I know you guys are under the gun, and but how much time did we have before? And we have a month now?
Less than a month. So this is the second, we have our second reading on the 15th, I believe. And if it is adopted on the 15th, we have to send it to the state immediately. If we don't make it before October 1st, that's it.
We don't even have a month. How much time do we have before?
We had 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah, and if we did not adopt them, we could actually, it could still be carried over in 6 months after it was adopted by every other jurisdiction. It will be, the city will automatically adopt it, and that will be until June 2026 if we did not have AB 130. But every municipality wants to have the new codes adopted so that they can take place on the 1st of January of every triennial cycle.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Morales, did you have a comment or question?
I had a question on the second whereas, where it talks about the California Health and Safety Code, section 17958, etc. It says, establish the authority for a city to adopt and make local amendments and modifications to the building standards in the California Building Standards Code to establish more restrictive building standards. So, so you're saying that there's codes, but you want the authority to make them more restrictive?
What we're doing actually, we're not really making it more restrictive or less restrictive. We're actually making the amendments are to make them align with the local fees, with the fire code, and it is also to make them. There's a couple of them that are restrictive, but that is because of the fact that we are in a seismic zone. We have so many different homes that are either right within the seismic zone or they are over the seismic line. And the only restriction that is hard would be for any new construction over or within the site or anywhere in the city to install an earthquake automatic shutoff valve at the gas line. In the event that there's an earthquake, that shutoff valve is going to shut the gas and prevent a potential fire.
So Councilmember Morales, if I can add a little bit too, that second whereas basically also what it's doing is just framing that from the state perspective, we do have the authority to adopt and make amendments if they are, you can have clarifying language or more restrictive. So ultimately, we can't go in and say, well, we're going to make things less than from a safety perspective than what the state code says. Mm-hmm. This doesn't change. AB 130 took that window and did this. So they're saying you can still make your changes, but you're going to be under the gun to get them done. But this whereas is establishing that it can be, that we do have the authority to do it for the California code.
So one city, for example, that has gone dramatically making changes is the city of Los Angeles. They do not have the California building code standards. They have the Los Angeles building codes. That's how they have gone to make the building code, the California building code standards more strict. But of course, we don't have the same infrastructures as they do.
Okay. It was just odd to me that it says to establish more restrictive building standards than those.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other? Okay, you have another comment? Okay, go ahead, Councilmember Resendez.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, so yeah, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. It seems like it's a pretty big deal, right? We're talking about the AB 130s. That's the builder's remedies. No,
this was This was the item that came at the time of the budget that had CEQA implications for like infill projects and all of those types of things from the CEQA standpoint. It's not a big impact here, just based on the available property that's left within the city.
Got it.
But this piece affects every city. So they just tighten the time frame and then are eliminating basically instead of every 3 years, it'll be every 6. So if you miss the boat on your amendments, there's very specific exceptions that apply, but short of that, you're stuck with the state codes for the next 6 years.
Okay, so what I'm understanding is we're adopting the state codes, but then we're making some amendments that are going to address like the seismic and then the fire hazards that we deal with here in Hollister to be a little bit least restrictive than what the state is. Sorry.
Well, the California building
Okay.
codes are the bare minimum.
Yes.
So we're not making them less restrictive.
Yeah,
We
I'm
can make
sorry.
them a lot more restrictive.
Yeah. Okay.
I-
And then
I
we don't,
wonder- I wonder if the language, like meeting the local, like maybe unique building code needs. I don't know if that's the right way to frame it, because I think the word restrictive or less restrictive, more restrictive, I think it's causing some confusion, but I'm wondering if it's more about like each community has some unique needs. For example, the seismic issues that because we sit on a fault line have, that maybe other jurisdictions don't necessarily have, that we want to make sure that we're addressing those unique needs.
Right.
That's how I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm wondering if that's accurate.
The word restrictive is actually coming from the California.
Yeah,
the,
yeah,
California
I
building
get it.
standards.
Very,
And I understand what you're
very
saying. So, and
technical.
there will be cases in which the municipalities may have a more restrictive ordinance. And what we may end up doing to to align it, we will still be submitting modifications to the state to align with the restrictions that the local municipalities may have separate. That way, we do not have a confusion with either contractors or the general public in regards to which one they're supposed to be applying. If the building code is less restrictive than the municipal code, then the code actually states that the most restrictive is the one that is going to govern. But that actually creates debate, friction between the building division and the contractors out in the field. That includes designers.
Yeah. Okay.
So whenever we can possibly make amendments to align with the municipality, we want to take advantage of that. Before my tenure, there was no modifications being proposed. There was the building standards were being adopted as they were being published by the state.
Yeah. Okay. I know. I mean, to me, I get that it's very technical, and so that's kind of hard to wrap our brain. Ultimately, it's hard to wrap our brains around it. Ultimately, what we're trying to make it understandable so that we can see what the impact will be as we're moving forward with plans in our future, right? I think that's the challenge. Okay. Okay, I don't know that everybody's, I think there's a little bit of confusion, but let me open the public hearing.
And we don't have any public comments for this
Okay,
item.
so I'm closing the public hearing. Okay, so we have to entertain a motion and unless there's more questions or comments.
It would just be to direct staff to hold the second hearing at the next council meeting.
I move that we direct staff to hold the second hearing at the next city council meeting.
Okay, I was instructed to do an actual motion, so we don't need to do that. Then you're saying, Rob, just wait until.
It's introduction of the ordinance, and then we'd bring it back for adoption at the next meeting.
Okay, all right.
My second.
No, we're not seconding it.
Yes,
We're
we do need an
We
introduction.
do need
Yeah, we
an,
need a
okay,
motion to
okay, wait,
introduce an
we do need a motion then.
Yes, you
Okay.
would need a motion.
All
If
right.
it passes, then we would bring it back. It would go on to consent at your next meeting.
Okay.
From that, they would submit it to the state. The state then does a review
Okay.
and the state would have to approve it. from there.
Okay, So I have a first and a second. So all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're gonna, aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we're gonna go on to our next public hearing, which is 9.2, an ordinance amending chapters 15.04 of the Hollister Municipal Code, adopt the 2025 edition of the California Fire Code, including appendices and adding sections 15.04.055 to establish local amendments. Here we have a staff report.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. Thank you. My name is Charlie Bedolla and I am your fire marshal. So I'd just like to say, good job to Gabe. This is his first time up here. So usually when you do your first time at a fire, you owe ice cream. So we're going to make him owe ice cream. But I think it was his first time up here. So he did a good job. Good kudos to him. But this is a hearing of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Hollister, amending Chapter 1504 of the Hollister Municipal Code to adopt the 2025 edition of the California Fire Code. We're piggybacking off of the building codes on there. And we're adopting the fire code in its entirety, including the appendices and as adopted in Title 24, Part 9 of the California Code of Regulations, and adding a section 150455 to establish and adopt local amendments. So to make it easier is everyone in the US has their codes, and they give a general boilerplate. So the general boilerplate is bare bones minimum. So when it goes to different jurisdictions, like in California, we're a lot more stricter than everybody else too. But then we bring ours based off of the local geological and topographical conditions, and that's where we adjust them like that from there. So that's where we're bringing the hearing here to you. And we have our amendments, and our amendments are actually, they used to be a bigger book in the fire code, and it's consistent with us. We have the same amendments as Santa Cruz County. They might have a couple tweaks, but the same as Monterey, because we work all in conjunction together. That way we have a consistent code. And I'm doing the same thing with San Benito County and San Juan Bautista. So we have one code and it's one adopted. That way somebody's not saying it's different over here. No, I guarantee it's the same everywhere. So it's consistent within the Tri-County area. So that's what we're bringing here today. And then the only difference is it started out with a bigger code. We're adding our amendments, but the state flavors start to adopt the local amendments. So the local amendments are starting to get a little thinner. So eventually we want to work to get all of our amendments done, because the state says, yeah, we like the amendments. We're going to go with the stricter. And the stricter is it's kind of hard with a 6-year window now, because you have new technologies and new things coming out, like battery energy storage systems. That's a long time. And if we're actually adopting codes that got established 3 years ago that are bringing them to us now. So the new codes are already outdated as it is. So they're going to find that out when we're coming up for the new adoption, new cycles. And like we said, we had Moss Landing Fire. So we'll see how that goes. We're trying to be ahead of it. We're trying, every local fire department in the state right now, and every local building department in the state is trying to be ahead of it to catch it before it gets too bad. But that's why we're bringing them here to you guys today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so any questions, comments, clarification? Go ahead, Councilmember Morales.
No, thank you for doing that. I think, so that, I guess there's nothing we can do to speak to the technology piece. I know like in certain areas there, in addition to the cameras for like rural areas like ours where there's a lot of land, they're also doing like the AI technology. So the cameras are the eyes and the AI technologies are like the nose, which help kind of save time and energy, especially when you don't have a lot of staffing. So with things like that, there is no way of us being able to, and because it's very inexpensive, like apply those things here. Are we restricting ourselves?
We're not restricting, because health and safety code allows us, the AHJ and the fire marshal and everything to make those, that gives us that liberty to make those requirements. And codes are, what are codes based off of? The bad things that go wrong. That's where we live off of. So eventually they'll get there. But if we see some, and we have a lot of heads up, for instance, like putting the batteries in the garage, that's something I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. They're like, yeah, we can. No, we're not, because you have thermal runaway. You have the battery starting to overheat and off gas indoors. We need that thing to vent on the outside, because what's going to happen when it's when you have the thermal runaway inside the garage and it's starting to off gas, you're building all that explosive gas area in there inside the confined area. But we want it to vent out. So now it's like you put them outside, we're not putting them inside, because it's going to be an explosive force to do a lot more damage. So that way, at least we get it to air out. That's an example, but yeah, we
Thank
have
you.
that, we have that authority.
Thank you, that makes me feel better.
Okay. Okay, others? I'm not seeing any, so I'm gonna open the public hearing. Any comments?
No comments on this item.
Okay, so I'm closing the public hearing now. So I need a similar motion to the last one.
Right, so before you make that motion, I
Okay.
just will, we need to make one slight change, and that was basically to approve, but change any references to 15.04.055 to 15.04.054, and this is just to ensure compliance so that we don't have any conflicts with the prior building code that was just adopted.
Okay, so essentially what the resolution's about. Okay. So with that, can I get a motion from
And
someone?
I will, but is it also an introduction, introduce it as well or no? Okay, so I'll move to introduce an ordinance for 9.2 with the change of adding the section 15.04.054. Thank you.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, no oppositions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
you.
evening.
You too. Okay, so let's go into the committee assignments. So any reports from committee members on any ad hocs or standing committees that you want to report on? Councilmember Resendez, go ahead.
Okay,
Wait,
so,
are you-
just I was gonna update on the
Okay,
AMPAC.
okay, hold on. Okay, so you do COG, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Stevens. So we had COG probably, I think, about 2 weeks ago, and then we talked about, I think we got a lot of updates, but the most important part was Highway 25. And we're looking at looking at a different route for Highway 25, and we're going to be talking about bringing back a feasibility study to see how much it'll cost to change the current route. So more to come on that. I think that's concludes my
Well,
report.
I think it's not to
You're gonna
change
have to help me out.
It's not
what's
to
that?
change the route, it's to change the proposed design.
Thank you.
Yeah, because we're actually looking to keep the current
Route.
25 route, if that's possible, right? That's what we want to look at. But
Yeah.
the current proposed design is not in alignment with current Highway 25. So essentially, we're looking at possible designs so that we can keep the current route. So that's what we want to look at. So it's the design that we're kind of ditching.
Thank you, Mayor Stevens.
Sorry about that. Okay. Is that the only report you have? Okay. Councilmember Deanna, do you have any reports?
Nothing to report. The only thing is the next Water Resource Association meeting is next Thursday. So next month, Thursday, October 2nd. So once we have our meeting after that.
You'll
and-
report.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, now Vice Mayor, go ahead.
So it took me a little while to read our section of the 2025 Monterey Bay Region Coordinated Public Transit Transportation Plan. And I also talked with Binu Abraham. Effectively, what the Council of Governments does is they collect all the information as to the need of transportation, what groups need transportation, what transportation exists already in the public, private, nonprofit sector, and they assess the needs, what's already out there being provided as far as services, so they're not duplicated, and we try to stop any kind of gaps, and they're trying to come up with strategies and activities and projects to address the identified gaps between current services and the needs, and prioritize implementation based on available resources, time, and feasibility. Effectively, what they're trying to do is just comply with the state and make sure that that every year there's an audit and the state needs to be assured that we're spending the money in accordance with where the money is supposed to be going.
Okay, thank you for that. Councilmember Morales, do you have any reports?
I guess my question to Rudy is, are they going to provide bus services to Gavilan College?
Currently, not quite yet. We're not totally sure there with where the money is effectively going to come from. So,
So for 3CE, we have a 2-day retreat. And so, man, that's a lot of days. Thanks, Roland. So looking forward to that, and we'll have a comprehensive report once I do that. That'll be my first meetings. For the seniors, senior council, we had the annual plan, which I'll provide the city a copy of so that maybe we can put it on our website. It's a pretty comprehensive plan. You know, we are going to have some challenging times, I think, in the future in terms of what might happen in terms of funding. So we right now partner with Santa Cruz County for our revenue. You know, in the future, Santa Cruz may bring those services in-house instead of contracting it out, which will then the status of San Benito County is kind of questionable in terms of what we do because the monies are put together. And so that will impact us. And so we're, Mindy and I sit on that committee. So we, you know, we'll need to talk about alternatives, maybe partner with someone else or see what we can do. But a lot of great work is done by the committee. And then we have a meeting on next week, Monday, for integrated waste management. There's also a California League of Cities, Monterey region dinner Monday night for those of you that are interested. And it's here in Hollister.
Okay, great. Thanks for that report. Okay, so I just have one report on tourism advisory we had last week. I did participate in a meeting with Caltrans and got the report that Councilmember Resendez just did. And thank you, Vice Mayor, for covering me at COG as I wasn't able to attend. So that's all I have on that. It's just essentially looking at the design. But for tourism, really did two things: a traffic management strategy for Pinnacles National Park. And so that essentially is being able to find ways, strategies to capture I guess it's like an overcrowded situation with parking, especially at Pinnacles National Park, and looking at ideas such as maybe possibly providing shuttle services that maybe we have people meet, for example, downtown in Hollister, and then using that as a way to encourage people before they leave to their Pinnacles trip, and then when they come back to pick up their car, to maybe stop and walk around in the downtown areas, including San Juan Bautista for that matter. So we're looking at those kinds of ideas of how we can take advantage of this problem that Pinnacles National Park has right now with their crowded parking and uptick in visitors, and trying to get people to not just bypass the cities and go straight to the Pinnacles, but to actually come into our city propers and spend some of their dollars and take advantage of what our cities have to offer. So that was part of our discussion. So we're going to continue to have those discussions. And then we also talked about an incentive program for hotels as a way to spur some of the TOT that cities are looking, and the county for that matter, looking to capture on. So the county of San Benito, it pulled together using our document, our TOT document, on ways to incentivize hotels to either improve or expand their hotels so that we get more hotel rooms and then trigger more TOT dollars. So what I am going to do is I'm actually going to ask that we take a look at that. I think at our next meeting, because we want to make sure that I shouldn't say it that way. We want to look at making the two documents, and Samuel Batista, by the way, is doing the same thing, be as similar as possible. And they use ours as a model, right? So it's pretty similar, but there are a few differences. And so we want to maybe consider whether we want to make any tweaks to ours. By the way, what they reminded me as we were there, that we've had ours in place for about 3 years, and this may be a good time for us to reevaluate ours anyway. So I think we might want to put that on to a future agenda in the next, I don't know, next month or so. So I'm looking at Dave and I'm looking at Jen. So maybe in the next month or so, but the goal is to have the cities, county, the two cities and the counties match as closely as possible, as well as I think a secondary goal for us is to relook at our current document and see if we need any updating of that document, because it's been in existence for about 3 years.
We can work together so to put an agenda item request form, and
Yeah.
we'll put it on the next agenda and go through.
Yeah.
I can get you the previous plan.
Yeah, and it could be next meeting or it could be the meeting after. I mean, I don't know that it's urgent, but I think we want to put it on pretty soon, so we can look at the timing of that, so we can talk about when to put that in. Okay, great. And that's all I have to report. Okay, so let's move into, and then we have fire advisory on Thursday. I'm looking at Chief Thursday, so I'll be reporting on that, right? Is that right? Thursday, right? Yeah. So I'll be reporting on that next time, I believe. We should have something to report, and we'll be looking at the feasibility study for the fire districts at that meeting. Okay, let's see. City manager report.
Nothing to report. I mean, I guess I want to say thank you for all the kind words on the rally, and really reiterate too that the blueprint that was left was really designed in partnership with all of the department heads and their staff as well. So thank you for all of the kind words. And I just want to pass that along to our team. They did a phenomenal job.
Thank you. Agree. Okay, so we're going to go into closed session. So do you want to read the items, City Attorney? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We have 3 items for closed session this evening. The first item is conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 or 3 of subdivision D of Section 54956.9 of the Government Code, 2 cases. Item 2, public employee performance evaluation pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, title City Attorney. Item 3, closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, public employee appointment/employment, title City Manager.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to go into closed session. So we're going to clear the chamber and then start closed session.